kids stuck on this earthly pilgrimage, lost or will to live. The kingdom that hand plays a bid because of mental explosion, brain corrosion, collecting heads and Romans, awaken the lost tribes that's been dozing. The prophets have arisen to resurrect the chosen, while the universe stands frozen. The prophecies start unfolding, exploding. While the whole world sleeps, the shepherds of lost sheep creep deep to the golden gates. It's Esau the Lord hates, from crime to thievery to even murder and rape. We close the drapes, watch them like grapes, while these fakes that perpetrate. My people's there's no equal in it. We do the Deuteronomy 7 and 6. I know it's hard like bricks, but don't trip, we got the kingdom coming. No more slumming and bumming, the Lord's coming. Busting through, we St. John 4 and 22, and guess who? The Lord's got us for. Settle the score. All you heathens hit the floor. See these 12 stars, defenders of the law. Type of wasn't up to par for this. Scandalous, murderous, evangelist who's girded up, ready to die for the words of the script. We too wise to be dumb. The hell with ice, we want the kingdom. Let's get out these sons and tell them where we from. Israel, you heard this, tuck tail, the bell, you rhyme to trail. You stepped in the zone where we excel. We too wise to be dumb. The hell with ice, we want the kingdom. Let's get out these sons and tell them where we from. Israel, you heard this, tuck tail, the bell, you rhyme to trail. You stepped in the zone where we excel.
It's on, I pop my color like spawn, transform a sandstorm, right? I take scorn, reborn like the children of the corn with the going on. Legion this swarm, be warm, sound of alarms, I harm dreams like hideous screams, posted in between ivory beams. Israelite kings, scandalous and particular cancer, bandage and damage and challenges, brandish, hang up the silence and smite them light on like halogens. Oh yeah, drop the ass, spark the block up, super shoulders, dropping bombs, bows and boulders, big shots, plays, big buzz with big bowlers. I stop blazing weed to stack dollars, got more styles, more grooves than Elijah. I got most moves, so smooth, so cool, roll through and rush. You see lyrical vocals, cold crush and flow through. Sandstorm riders inside us, some motherfucking riots and a menaces with nail wrinkles of blemishes, and it's the venomous citizens witness to the bandages in. Back to Genesis, it's simple and plain. We got you breaking for the bridge like Ichabod Crane. It's on.
We too wise to be dumb. The hell with ice, we want the kingdom. Let's get out these sons and tell them where we from. Israel, you heard this, tuck tail, the bell, you rhyme to trail. You stepped in the zone where we excel. We too wise to be dumb. The hell with ice, we want the kingdom. Let's get out these sons and tell them where we from. Israel, you heard this, tuck tail, the bell, you rhyme to trail. You stepped in the zone where we excel.
I represent the struggle for excellence. No one can keep alive. A ghetto survivor, born in a generation of vipers. The venom be the backbite, hating individuals here. Snake slither and snare, we don't feel over here.
Affliction is straight rough on the J, especially when you've been thrown in a pit of snakes. My breath intake been great, my mind state is like whatever it takes. I ain't out for the dough, let's get it straight. Now you wanna be bold, let the truth be told. Most of us don't know, we were sold like black gold. Niggas don't care, you rather get blowed. I ain't staying silent like tiptoes, I'm up early like the crow.
Pain and discipline, souls together in game, rather than shatter and stain. Build the tattered and main, banish the damage and lane. Ravish the bastards that claim, repping his thing. See what more balls and jock straps, more balls and crotch grass, more balls and spalling, more balls and rolling, got more balls and all of them here. Back to New Orleans, rap stingers and lingers that represent like symbols and flags and middle fingers.
We don't linger, make it happen with the Nina. I'm a head turner like Tina, looking for wisdom. Have you seen her? SOJ, we leading the race. Keep up the pace, now follow the leaders. Come on, we too wise to be dumb. The hell with ice, we want the kingdom. Let's get out these sons and tell them where we from. Israel, you heard this, tuck tail, the bell, you rhyme to trail. You stepped in the zone where we excel. We too wise to be dumb. The hell with ice, we want the kingdom. Let's get out these sons and tell them where we from. Israel, you heard this, tuck tail, the bell, you rhyme to trail. You stepped in the zone where we excel.
All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, while Yahweh Shai. It's your brother IQAhmath, IQ, first name. IQ, it's all the same. Good morning, welcome, shalom, 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 all that good stuff. Welcome to another episode of DSTN, Don't Shoot the Messenger. If you've been around, you've been picking up what I've been putting down. But if you've not, don't get too close because you might get shot. Salute to my brothers and sisters that's in the chat. And for those who have yet to come in and salute the saints, it's okay. Shalom to you too. You understand what I'm saying? So quick shout out to my sister Rosemary out there in London and the fam out there. Shalom to y'all. My brother Sean house, shalom to you. The Quabbin house, shalom. Uziel, Malachi, shalom to y'all brothers, man. Brother Joshua, he out there in London too. Shalom to you, bro. Who else we got? Romulus, hey, shalom to you, right? What's going on? Who else we got over here? Hosea in the house, man. Shalom to you and the brethren out there in Jamaica. You already know what time it is, man. Some of y'all gonna hate the title. Some of y'all gonna question and scratching your head, man. What's he talking about? Thank God for Trump. Yep, I said it. That's right. I'm converted, man. I'm full blown MAGA. Let me give you some context to what I'm saying. When I say thank God for Trump, as y'all know, man, he is a willing servant. He's doing exactly what the Most High wants him to do. He's doing everything that is going to take for the children of Israel to be delivered from our bondage and our captivity, from our ignorances, so forth and so on, man. He's doing an excellent job. I gotta salute him. I gotta salute him. You know, a couple of years ago, he said he's the chosen one, right? And I clowned him for that. But I got to double back and I got to say, is he not? You know, I see some, whether it's through the means of YouTube or whatever, but I see people dropping off. Oh, he's pro-Trump. Stick around, you're gonna figure out what I'm talking about. You're gonna figure out what I'm talking about. You're gonna figure out what the Lord is talking about, right? He's a perfect pawn. He's doing everything that he's supposed to be doing. I don't think slow Biden would have lived up to the hype. I know Kamala Harris, she wouldn't have been able to do everything that's necessary for these prophecies to come to pass, to bring forth the end times, to bring forth, you know, the things that's necessary for the children of Israel to wake up, man, and repent and to see the light and understand and know that Babylon is not your friend. This place we have to escape spiritually, mentally, eventually, physically, because it's going to bring a sore destruction. Right? Micah 2:10 tells us that. This is not our rest. Let's get that real quick. And let me put this up here. Let's get this real quick, man. Notice the time starting a little bit earlier. I know Thursday's lesson that I did regarding the marathon shooting and all that had a technical issue, man. The mics just went off, sound stopped coming through halfway through the lesson. Lord willing, it doesn't do it this time. My screen got froze throughout the lesson. You know, I don't know if it's my internet connection. I don't know if it's just blatant sabotage, spirits moving, whatever the case may be. Lord willing, keep me abreast. I'll try to monitor the chat. If y'all are having any issues with the stream, so I can, you know, try to fix it, you know, as time permits. All right. But if I'm coming through clear, throw a 7 in the chat before we begin. If I'm coming in clear, throw a 7 in the chat. It looks like my screen is frozen, but if you can hear me, just let it be known. Do that solid for you, brother. Is my sound coming in? Okay, I got a couple of 7s in there, a couple more. Okay, all praises. All right, good deal. Let me see, what else could it be? I think we might be all right today. All right, cool. All right. I think what happens is it might be too many connections on my Wi-Fi in the house. So I'm shutting some off. Hopefully it's stream maintains. All right, good deal. So y'all all right. Okay, cool. Let's get to it. Start off with Micah. We're gonna read Micah 2 and verse 10. It says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest." This is not home base. This is not salvation. This is not the American dream. This is not where we're supposed to be lining up and saying, hey, you know what? We're stuck here. We might as well make the best of it. Two-car garage and all that other stuff. No. The Lord said, arise ye and depart. We got to depart from this place. Number one, spiritually. We have to not invest so much in the ways of America, the idolatry, the sorceries, the wickedness, the sciences, the fornication, the adultery, everything that's antithesis to the Bible. We have to depart from those ways. That's part of our repentance process. That's part of our cleansing. That's part of us returning back to our true power. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. It says, for this is not your rest. We can't get too comfortable here. We were brought here in terms of bondage. We're brought in here in terms of us being disobedient to the Most High. This is not supposed to be the place that is our oasis. This is not Valhalla, if you're looking at the Viking mythology, Nordic mythology. This is not our rest. Our rest is when we get back home. Our rest is entering into that everlasting Sabbath that was talked about, I believe, in I think it's Hebrews, the 4th chapter. Why not? It says because it's polluted. I don't need to go into every little example of understanding how America is polluted. Babylon is polluted. The ways of the West and the so-called white man and our oppressor is polluted. The Lord said, envy not the oppressor and choose none of his ways, not some, none of his ways. Why? Because eventually we'll pollute us. Eventually it will turn us away from our power. That's happened throughout history, right? It shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction. So if we continue on in this manner, if we follow along with the ways of the world and everything that it presents to us, the Lord said we will certainly be destroyed with a sword destruction. Okay. Now, giving more context to the title of the class. Yeah, it's a little clickbaity, but at the same time, it's the truth. You got to thank the Most High for Trump, because he's doing a stupendous job. He's crashing the economy. He's causing famines and plagues. He's racking up the debt of iniquity for America. If Revelation 18 says that this place is the cage of every foul and hateful bird, he's racking up all of the accolades to make that true. Him and his predecessors before him, Slow Biden, Obama, all of them. But he's wearing the crown right now. He's the one who's really adding on to the task of destruction, right? Destroying the economy. He did Operation Warp Speed with the whole plague, with the C-19 situation. He's starting multiple wars. He's accumulating the bombing of innocent deaths and blood all over his hands. He's established himself with lies and wickedness and unrighteousness. He's holding himself proud and boastful. He siphoned off monies and did white collar crimes and stole money, so he's a thief, right? He's destroyed history. He's shutting down parks and museums that wanted to honor Black history. He made his own Bible, so he's changed the word of the Most High. He's got a Trump Bible. I mean, what else do we need to talk about? He's doing everything that's necessary, right? And ain't nothing he can do about it. Romans 9, it says, nay, but oh man, who art thou that repliest against the Most High? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it? He can do nothing about it. That's why when he quoted, a couple of weeks back when they played that video, when he said that he's not going to heaven. No, he's not. He says he's not a Christian. He said he's not going to heaven. He's done too much. He hasn't done enough, I should say. That's what he said. He hasn't done enough to make it. So there's nothing he can reply to the Most High and act as if he's in control. He's not in control. I'm gonna give you case in point as we begin in a minute. Right? So the thing that formed it, say that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? So the white man, that's why it's such mysterious. It's just a mysterious judgment for him, because they always say, well, I wasn't there. It wasn't me. How come you're always saying the white people are wicked? All this other stuff. And the heathen. It's because, Elder Rashab always used to say, you have the case of the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is Israel, the bad is Esau, and the ugly are the nations. We're dealing in a time where we're talking about the ultimate battle between good against evil. I mean, they're even saying that in the U.S. military. They're talking about this is the war that's going to bring forth Armageddon. You've got even on the Muslim side, they're talking about this being the ultimate jihad that's going to bring forth the Mahdi or the Messiah. So we're in a place right now like none of them. They wasn't talking about This is Armageddon, end times, and all this other stuff during the Iraq War. It wasn't talking about it during 9/11. It wasn't talking about it through, the COVID situation, whatever. Now you're talking about from military heads, from people in the in Congress, all of them, from the enemies that they're facing. All of a sudden now the language is changing. The language now is talking about, is this the last day? Is this going to be Armageddon? Is this the final battle? Why hast thou made me thus? So their question is saying, well, how come I'm like how I am? It's because the Most High made you that way. And everyone serves a purpose according to the Most High's will. And he's just the right hand that's putting forth the judgments for the Most High. He's the chess piece that's being moved on the board, on the world stage, that's causing reactions from everybody else. Right? It's strategy. Verse 21, hath not the potter power over the clay, of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and unto another dishonor. So that's how the Most High works, man. Somebody's got to be made dishonorable. Somebody's going to be made the butt of everybody's joke. Somebody's going to be made the wicked. Everybody's got to play that role. Our ultimate goal is to play the vessel unto honor. We want to honor the Most High. We want to honor his commandments. We want to honor each other in love according to the commandments. Somebody else is going to be made unto dishonor, and that's the role that he's playing, and he's doing it all day. I mean, let's look at history now. No, I want Exodus 9. One thing our people, that we kind of lose sight of, and we're going to be entering into Passover April 1st. All praise to the Most High, Lord willing, we all make it to that date. But reflecting back on the history, everybody knows about the 10 plagues, so forth and so on. There's always been this particular stance where it's like Pharaoh kept rebelling against the Most High. Every time Moses came and said, let my people go, let us go worship out and sacrifice to the Lord, he said, no, I ain't doing it. But who actually was controlling that? Exodus 9. Then Yahweh said unto Moses, go in unto Pharaoh and tell him, thus saith Yahweh, power of the Hebrews, let my people go that they may serve me. For if thou refuse to let him go and wilt hold them still, behold, the hand of Yahweh is upon thy cattle, which is in the field, upon the horses, upon the asses, and upon the camels, upon the oxen, and upon the sheep. There shall be a grievous murrain. So the murrain, the diseasing of the livestock was going to happen if Pharaoh refused. Right? But look down here, verse 12. What happened? So obviously, the plague came. Pharaoh tried to rely on his magicians and the sorceries and the witchcraft to, try to offset the disease, boils, and the murrain that hit the livestock, and it didn't work. Now, verse 12, it says, and Yahweh hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he hearkened not unto them as Yahweh had spoken unto Moses. So the Most High was using Pharaoh. The Most High hardened his heart. The Most High made him rebellious. The Most High made him say, no, I ain't doing it. Or go back on his word. Okay, go ahead. No, actually, no, stop. Get back in them chains. Get back in the bondage. Get back into your slave quarters. And you're saying, hold on, wait a minute. You said it was good, man. See, that's what happens, man. Them damn Egyptians be lying. No, the Most High made him say no. Why? Because the Most High wanted to pound him into submission, wanted to show his power. The Most High was not done torturing and showing the Egyptians his power. Not only that, it was faith building for the children of Israel to break free from the Egyptian bondage that they was into, the things that they were growing accustomed to, the conversion that they was dealing with. Mind you, we was in there for 430 years. You know how many of our people got comfortable in living in Egypt, changing their ways, wanting to be like the Egyptians, the whole nine. Because that's why when you get into Leviticus 18, it says that all of the manners of the land and the people before you don't do these things. And then it gets into all of the moral laws and the laws of fornication, so forth and so on. And it says the land, after it works the people of Canaan and after it works the people of Egypt, because that's what our people learned. We thought that, being homosexuals was okay. The Lord said, no, that's what they do. That's in Leviticus 20 and 13. Leviticus 18 and 22 actually is that particular law. But in Leviticus 18 and 3, it says, don't do like these other nations, because this is what they do. This is why you see our people over here compromising and saying, oh, okay, it's cool. You know, that's their business. Do what you want to do. You know, as long as you don't bother me. Like, no. Lord says, set apart yourselves from those things, right? But the Lord had to harden his heart so that the children of Israel can build up the faith, build up the belief, and knowing that Yahweh, the self-existent power, the eternal power, is the only one that we should be serving. And it took our people some time to see, okay, yeah, this is it. Moses is right. And even after that, our people went and left out of Egypt and then went back and complained and murmured and everything else. Most I was like, damn, that wasn't enough. Okay, I got to give you some more examples in the wilderness. I got to put some of y'all to death. Right? Thousands of our people died. And remember, it said that everybody of that generation died except for Caleb, Joshua, and their offspring away. Because even the hard-headed, stiff-necked nature of our people, after seeing all of the miracles, that the Most High performed, some of our people still wasn't believing. Still didn't want to, ride with the program. Same thing's gonna happen now. I rarely get on. I mean, I have Facebook and all that, but I'm not active on there like that. Usually I use it for communication. People know that's how to reach me through Messenger. I try to post our classes. I don't know what happens. Sometimes I'm hearing it. They don't even post. But it is what it is. But I happen to see a post up there, and somebody let a post talking about all you Israelites saying it's World War III. Ha ha ha! Y'all got it. And this is from the Israelites. The cat's name was Zion. Something. I'm like, okay. So there's doctrines now where people are already trying to convince Israel, like, this ain't it. Leave it alone. Even though all these prophecies are lining up, everything is being shown, and we're gonna see some more today. You still have some who's spitefully out there saying, no, y'all are wasting your time. This ain't it. I don't know what they're waiting on. I don't know what they're waiting on. But this is what it is. So when you see Pharaoh's heart harden, you guys the same Israelites saying, see, it didn't work. See, it didn't happen. Why? Because the Most High is still proving and testing and trying Israel. The Most High is still not ready to build up the final judgment for America. Same way he wasn't ready to judge Egypt. Our people would sit back and say, damn, you would think by now people will wake up. No, it may take a little bit longer. Remember, even Christ told us in Matthew 24, he said, wars, rumors of wars, plagues, he said, this is the beginning of sorrows. Right? But everything else starts somewhere. So getting back to this, right? Remember the scripture, Isaiah 10. We say thank God for Trump, right? It's because he's being used. Isaiah 10:5. O Assyrian, the rod of my anger and the staff in their hand is my indignation. So the Most High has used the Assyrians to be the anger of the Lord, to be the staff in the hand of his indignation. Why? To bring forth judgment on the children of Israel. Israel had to go into bondage. So the Most High uses the nations to execute judgment on us when we're rebellious. The Most High uses the nations to execute judgment for the deliverance of our people. It's all chess. It's all how the Most High lines up the pieces. And that's why we read in Romans 9, it says, man, well, people are saying, why am I doing this? How come I'm like this? It's because the Most High did it that way. All in his divine plan. Verse 6, it says, I will send him against a hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge to take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like the mire of the street. So, that's how the Most High operates, right? Let me get Job. And this is a good classic scripture too. Job 12, verse 16. It says, with him is strength and wisdom. Talking about the Most High. The deceived and the deceiver are his. So the deceived, all those who follow along with the lies, the deceptions, and the hypocritical ways of America and everybody, they're being deceived. The Most High says, I got them in my hands too. And the deceiver are his. So, obviously, operating as a spirit of Satan, under Satan's authority, USA, Revelation 12 tell you that Satan gave the beast his power. Chapter 13 tells you that. The deceived and the deceiver are his. The Most High is working the ultimate plan. So Trump is out here, basically got the spiritual hand of the Lord up his rectum, and he's being used as a puppet. Everything that's coming out of his mouth. Pete Hegseth, Dragon Breath, that was out there woofing earlier this week, talking about how much damage, death, and destruction they're doing to Iran. They're playing. They're not playing by the rules. You're supposed to kick them while they're down and keep the foot on their neck. And Hegseth, Dragon Breath was talking wild. If y'all didn't see his speech, I mean, super proud, super bold. Ultimately speaking as if he was like, a throwback of Nicanor, or one of the evil Greek generals that was hell bent on the death and destruction, and took pleasure in bloodletting and everything. I mean, this is how this guy was talking. So verse 16 again, it says, with him is strength and wisdom, the deceived and the deceiver is his. He leadeth counselors away spoiled, and maketh the judges fools. So this is how the Most High is going to end up playing out. He leadeth counselors away spoiled. You notice they had they tried to have the Supreme Court judge stop the war, and it got rejected earlier. So they tried to put it, they wanted to try to put a ceasefire agreement together, and said that, hold on, we got to check the legitimacy of the war, and doesn't look like this is right, and we let's put a stop to it. Let's take it to vote. That got turned down early in the week. Why? Because the Most High said that's not happening. That's long as we read it plenty of times, man. When they shall seek peace, and sudden destruction happen, that's what ends up happening. Because the Lord says no. This gate has already been opened. There's no closing. Matter of fact, let's get that in Second Ezra. The gate has already been opened. You're not going to be able to. Dang it. You can't close it no more. Second Ezra. $16. Let's get right to it. Yeah, I like the whole thing, but like I said, I want to get right to the point. That's why I started early, because I'm going to try something, a record. I'm going to try a record DSTM, right? Be prepared, y'all. I got over 50 articles, videos, everything else. Don't know if I'm going to get through all of them, just for time's sake. So if you need to double back, go back, screenshot, write down something you need to go back to, or whatever the case may be, because I'm going to move a little bit fast, but at the same time, I'm going to try to do justice to everything I'm trying to say. So that's why I started a little earlier, because I got to double up today. I'm doing the closing Sabbath class later this afternoon too. So, but when it's all on in the brain and all on document, I'm just trying to get it off so I don't forget, because I ain't got time to go back and do 2, 3, 4 different episodes, splitting them up into 3 different parts or whatever. We just got to get through it. All right. So Lord willing, y'all bear with me. We're going to get to it. 2 Ezra 16, it says, gird up yourselves with sacks of hair, with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. Who's he talking about? Babylon, Asia, woe into the Egypt, Assyria, all from the Middle East to Eastern Asia to America to Africa. All, this is essentially talking about world war. North, south, east, west. You're going to have all of these particular nations at war. A sword is sent upon you, who may turn it back. A fire is sent among you, who may quench it. Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench the fire in the stubble when it has begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer. The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Lord shall threaten, who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence. So when it's all said and done, the Lord sent forth all of these particular things. That gate, that arrow, that door has been opened, and there's no closing. Verse 16, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. So That lets you know that once the Most High, extends back that bow, and it's that arrow's been let loose, there's no turning back. So when you see these particular, congressional hearings and them trying to stop the war, that's not happening. It's already been shot off. You can't return back and say, "Oh, hold on, no, let's get this thing under control." Remember, they was talking about it earlier. They said this is going to be a quick precision strike. It's going to, it's not going to take that long. You seen JD Vance says it's definitely not going to take that long, and we covered that a week or so ago. We had to flashback to the Iraq War. They said the same thing. 20 years later, troops still over there. That war lasted over 10 years. What are we talking about? They're not in control. That's why. Jumping back to Job 12. So he leadeth the way the counselors spoiled and maketh the judges fools. He loosed the bond of kings and girded up their loins with their girdles. So what did he do? He loosened the bond of the king. So the Most High is the one who gives the king their authority, allowing them to do what they need to do. But he said he girded up their loins with a girdle. He also straps in them as a girdle, just like you would a horse and a bridle and everything else, where the Most High controls where and how they're going, what are they saying, what are they being able to do. He leadeth the way princes spoil and overthroweth the mighty. He removed away the speech of the trusty. See that? Why the MAGA maniacs so mad right now? Because they were sold on no more endless wars. They were sold on a president of peace. Look, I mean, this guy just got through having a whole board of peace with when he did the Davos meeting, and said, he's going to create this board of peace. I think they end up spending $5 or $8 billion they invested in it with some of the European nation countries and all of that, trying to reestablish his links with NATO. And right after that, what did he do? Bombed away, kidnapped, destroying more nations. So if that's what peace is in his eyes, imagine when he says he wants to go to war. And this is exactly what they're talking about now. Remember, right now, they just said this was a military action. They didn't want to say this is war. Now they're saying it's war. So the speech is constantly changing, right? They're kicking the can down the road, man. They're opening up, they're moving the goalpost even more. So he removed away the speech of the trustee. So now people don't trust him no more. You see, he just fired Christy Nome, the head of ICE, shut her down, got rid of those. He's constantly getting, removing away the speech of the trustee, meaning he can't be trusted anymore. And taketh away the understanding of the age. So the wisdom now is being gone. The ancient men, the T-men and D-Dan and all of that, Esau, man, is being made a fool of right now because he's being exposed. No longer is anybody saying, "Oh, the Israelites, y'all are crazy. Y'all talking bullish, the hate group and end time. We heard this all before." Oh, now they're all looking online. Now they're all watching videos on the low. Now they're all over there saying, "Yeah, I knew it too. I was right there with it." Negative. Because now it's undeniable, right? We was holding up signs saying America's going to be destroyed 30 years ago. And people said, "You're full of it. How dare you? That's blasphemy. If you don't like it here, leave." And now what's happening? They're just seeing a mass exodus of Americans trying to get up out of here, renouncing their citizenship. They're trying to leave now. See how that works? He poureth contempt upon princes and weakeneth the strength of the mighty. So yeah, America's being broken down mightily. They're using a whole lot of AI imaging and utilizing the press to go out there and talking about how well they're doing, how much destruction they're doing, and how much Iran is just bowing down. And yeah, if you believe them stories, man, the same way they did with the Ukraine-Russia war. Remember that early on, they were talking about how Ukraine is just pounding Israel. They had the ghost of Kiev, some magic, Top Gun pilot that was shooting down all the Russian planes, and the mighty, the little David of Ukraine was taking down the Goliath of Russia. And before you know, man, the truth had to come out, man. They was getting pounded out, and Zelensky was like, "Help, help, send money, send weapons, help." All of that changed. So the Most High is the one who pours out contempt upon princes and weakeneth the strength of the mighty, right? So this is what we're looking at. This is how the Most High judges these men. So yeah, hey man, thank God for Trump, man, because he's doing everything that the Most High wants him to do, needs him to do, so that the children of Israel can be delivered. And if we're doing our work, we're going to get to where we're supposed to be, and that's back home. That's back in rulership. That's what our true crown king, Yahweh is ruling over the earth again. Isaiah 44:20. Here's an example. That saith of Cyrus, he is my shepherd, and shall perform all my pleasure, even saying to Jerusalem, thou shalt be built, and to the temple thy foundation shall be laid. So the Most High is in previous times utilized the heathen in order to do what? Show favor to Israel. They ain't talking about he's a shepherd as if he's a shepherd of the sheep. But no, that means he's the one who does the gathering. He's the one that performs the will of the Most High. And why did he say what was he going to do? He was using him for the sake of Jerusalem so that the temple could be rebuilt after we got out of battle. The authorization for that to happen had to come through the Most High to put that in Cyrus's mind and say, you know what? Hey, I got an idea. Let's give favor to the Jews, man, and let them rebuild their temple. Let them get back to worshiping again. I think that's a good idea. He thinks he came up with that. No, that came from the Lord. So that the foundation could be laid, right? The Christians love to use that. Say, see, he even called Cyrus. You guys keep talking about how the Most High only deals with Israel. He called him as anointed. And no, that means anointed in this particular context, meaning he was put to purpose. He was consecrated for a purpose. What was his purpose? To show favor to Israel so that temple could get rebuilt. Don't get it twisted. It's not the anointing of the Lord. The anointing of the Lord, the true Mashiach, is Christ. And his anointed ones is the children of Israel. We're the ones who've been consecrated for worship purposes. We're the ones who've been consecrated to be set apart and above all nations. When he talked about Cyrus being there, he was being anointed for a purpose, which was to help the children of Israel. Isaiah 45:1. Thus saith Yahweh to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I am holding, to subdue nations before him, and I will loose the loin of kings, to open before him the two lead gates, and the gates shall not be shut. So this is what we're talking about. This is how the Most High uses nation. And Trump ain't doing, he's only being used by the Most High for his purpose, which is to bring forth judgment, to bring forth war, to bring forth more charges of corruption and wickedness and evil, so that America can have a righteous judgment. Okay, Daniel 2, verse 21. And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. That's the job of the Most High. The Most High does these things. So when we're talking about the removal of the king, listen, man, when Ayatollah got put to death, and the former president Khomeini and all that, when they got put to death, that was of the Lord. And a lot of people don't even realize when Ayatollah got put to death, he's not the president. He's not the one that calls the shots of Iran. People think, they took out the generals, they took out the head of Iran. No, the Ayatollah is essentially like the high priest. He's the religious leader. He's the essentially like the Pope in Islam over there of Iran. He's the religious leader. So, put it in those perspectives. When he got put to death, I mean, the cat was 80 plus years old, man. He was on his way out the door anyway. So, that's not really like a big feather in the cap. Yeah, he was a mouthpiece. He was an influential figure for them who got martyred. But at the same point in time, he was not the essential leadership head, the military head of Iran. That's why they're still going strong, fighting, doing what they need to do. That's why they went ballistic after he got put to death, because essentially you took out their high priest, you took out their pope. So of course they're gonna have some reaction. Now they're settling back in, and they're like, okay, let's get back to the military. We lashed out, we got what we wanted to get done, but now we got to get back and focus in on, the true enemy. So the Most High is doing all these things, man. Let me get a couple more, and I'm going to get to these articles. What time? Yeah, let's get to it. Let me see. We'll go to Jeremiah chapter 1. And we're going to read verse 13 and 14. It says, and the word of Yahweh came unto me the second time, saying, what seest thou? And I said, I see a seething pot, and the face thereof is toward the north. So what is it talking about? The melting pot of America. Where is it the land of the north? You know, even Jeremiah 23 says that no longer are we going to be talking about the children of Israel being delivered out of Egypt anymore, but we're going to be talking about the children of Israel being delivered out of the land of the north. Where's the land of the north? We're talking about America now. The second Babylon, the destruction of this place is imminent. And the Lord said that the history and the legacy is going to say the children of Israel, by vast majority, not saying all of Israel is here in North America. We know that they're scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. But the largest concentration of Israelites are here in the land of the north. So it said, now Jeremiah said, man, I see a seething pot, man. Remember, I had a class a couple of weeks ago saying that the boiling pot is bubbling over. The melting pot is bubbling over, right? Jeremiah saying the same thing. He said, this melting pot up there in the north, man. Why is it the melting pot? Because this is a place where all cultures, languages, religious philosophies, genders, so forth and so on, are all blended in together. And they're all sipping on the same poisonous, wine and doctrine that America feeds them. Remember, this great whore made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of the fornication of America or Babylon. Verse 14, it says, then Yahweh said unto me, out of the north an evil shall break forth upon all the inhabitants of the land. So as ancient times before with Babylon, all evil coming up out of here, this is the offspring. This is the daughter of Babylon. All evil is going to break forth out of here, man. I shared an article last weekend. Was it last week? No, 2 weeks ago, the new moon, where the president of Turkey said, man, all the nations hate America, man. They know that this is a place where evil emanates from, sieves out of this place and infects the rest of the world. And this is why the world and the nations are all reacting as such. Let me get one more. James 3. Oops. And let me read verse. I'm gonna just get right to the point, man. Verse 16. It says, for where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work. So this is what's going on. And this is why we see the confusion that's going on. This is Babylon. Babal, meaning confusion. And every evil work descends up out of this place. Why? Because of envying and strife. What does he want? We talk about envying, coveting, wanting things that's not yours, desirous of things that people have, and you're envious of it. He wants Greenland. He wants, Venezuela. He wants Cuba. He wants Ecuador. He wants the control of the Middle East. He wants the oil. He wants the precious minerals and resources. That's been his camp. And mind you, man, we're only in a year and 3 months. A year and 3 months in his dictator, his presidency. And look how much stuff done went down in a year and some change. And he still got another, 3 years to go? So if this is the path that we're set on, imagine where we're at as we continue on. Okay? Let's get to these articles, man. I don't want to waste too much more time. Like I said, I started early because I have a lot to cover, but at the same time, we got to be thorough. Now look at this. This is from a 2019 Truth Social post. This is how you got to say, man, what made him make a 360 is only the Lord. Look at this. The United States has spent $8 trillion fighting and policing in the Middle East. Thousands of our great soldiers have died or been badly wounded. Millions of people have died on the other side. Going into the Middle East is the worst decision ever made. So this is a 2019 post where he was supposedly against a Middle East conflict, against policing the Middle East, against, soldiers dying and all of that. What happened? In 7 years, mind you, 7, completion, spiritual number, took him 7 years for the Most High to actually clamp down on his spirit, clamp down on his brain, utilize the fork-tongued nature that he has, and come back and be hypocritical to what he had valued 7 years ago. So he used to have a stance of, hey, peace, save money, America first. Now all of a sudden it's last week he said, yeah, troops are gonna die. That's what comes with war. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Now it's like soldiers' lives don't matter. Now he ain't worried about the economy. He was bragging about how he had gas at its lowest price now. Everybody's feeling the pain at the pump now. They said, man, gas went up 75 cents this week alone, the highest it's ever done. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be walking way more than I'm doing right now. My car is a gas guzzler, and it costs a bit of change to fill up. So yeah, man, this guy he ain't helping the situation. Mind you, this is just the first week of war. Them gas prices are gonna continue going up, but that Strait of Hormuz closed down. The compromising of the oil. Now, mind you, America has got the biggest oil reserves, and the biggest place of oil manufacturing can come from right here. Not the Middle East. America's number one. Middle East is like number two. I think Russia's like number three. We got the oil, but guess what? They're still going to ration it off because their dependency, other nations are dependent upon America's oil, so they got to ship that out. Europe is they get theirs from Russia and some from the Middle East is getting and China gets theirs from Iran. So they've got a whole little monopoly on how they're moving things. The petrodollar with America and Saudi Arabia working out their deal, oil being backed by the dollar. So all of this is all a big powder keg, man, that's letting things go to hell in the handbasket fast. But you see the hypocrisy of him. But this is only because the Most High put his hand on him and said, nah, you're going to make a complete 360, man, and you're going to be the catalyst that starts everything and the downfall of your country, right? Look at this. U.S. commanders tell troops Trump is what? Anointed by Jesus. To start, Iran war sparking hundreds of complaints. So you've got hundreds of troops in the military right now who are against this war, and now they're being fed radical evangelical doctrine through the U.S. military saying that this is a holy war now. Yeah. They're saying that you're fighting a holy war. Trump is anointed by Jesus. If we destroy the Middle East and begin Armageddon, Christ is going to come back and save us. This is why the Most High is so cold. Because you see all these Edomites running around talking about the evangelicals from Ted Cruz and all, Ted Cruz, Pete Hegseth, Dragon Breath, all of them. They're all talking about how much they believe in Christ. They believe in Israel first. If you bless Israel, you'll be blessed, and all this other stuff. They don't know, which is so crazy. Man, all praise to the Most High, man, because they think that they're helping the people over there, but meanwhile, they're really helping the people here, Blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics in our spiritual Goshen. You understand? Being protected, serving the Most High, doing the things that we need to do. And meanwhile, they're so blind. They're thinking the people over there are the people that they're helping fight. No, what they're doing is they're fighting a war. They're initiating things. And yeah, they're sparking up things that could lead to Armageddon, World War III, the Valley of Jehoshaphat, so forth and so on, not knowing that the true people that they're thinking they're honoring aren't the people. They're right here. So yes, they are fighting all this thing for us, not for them. But that's why the Most High has their conscience seared and zealous, talking about, oh, they're fighting for the holy war and all. This now is infiltrated into the military. A damning new report found that evangelical Christian fundamentalism is underpinning U.S. military action in Iran. So they're trying to match the energy and the spirit of the Iranians and the Muslims. You know how they think they got 70 wives coming to them and all kind of madness coming up. When they get martyred and put to death, and they're going to see the second coming of the Messiah. They're fighting for religious means. America be fighting for propaganda and life. Now America's saying, no, we got to fight for religious means too. We've got to match their peace. We got to match their energy in war, their zealousness for war. And some of the troops in there saying, man, I ain't signed up for this. Hell no. You got atheists in there, man. You got Muslims in there. You got, not evangelicals, but you got Baptists, whatever else is going on in there. And they like, man, that ain't my doctrine. What are you talking about? U.S. President Donald Trump announced Saturday that the U.S. and Israel launched a joint. Okay, we don't need to talk about that. We know about this. Trump said heavy and pinpoint bombing would continue uninterrupted throughout the week or as long as necessary to achieve our objective of peace throughout the Middle East and indeed the world, whatever. A non-commissioned officer who attended the briefing Monday told the MRFF that the combat unit commander, quote, urged us to tell our troops that this was, quote, all part of God's divine plan. I agree. But the fact that now they're infiltrating that into the military is the reason why they're saying, hold on, when I signed up for this wasn't based upon religious doctrine or religious belief, man. I was stuck in the hood, didn't have no opportunities or whatever the case may be, man. And I figured, man, I want to be all I can be. I got recruited by some Marines walking around, and they told me that I can get a GI Bill, and I can go to school, and I can get out, and I can get a home loan, and all this other stuff, man. That's what I went in it for, to get the benefits. Now, this ain't the case. But that's it. That's for the article. This was from. Let me find one for you. It's in a few different ones. Let me help you out real quick. Typically, what you want to do is just look at the headline. You'll find it. What was the headline? U.S. commander still. So you got one in Newsweek. They're all pretty much saying the same thing. Newsweek.com. AOL's got one. You can just use the Newsweek one. All of them pretty much are kind of leaking off to the same report. Yahoo got one. Mirror. I think I got the one from the Mirror. But it's all there. All right. So, they're telling the man it's a holy war now, right? So let's continue on. Now look, it says this all part of God's divine plan, and he specifically referenced numerous citations out of the book of Revelation, referring to Armageddon and imminent return of Jesus Christ. So they're waiting for Caesar Borgia to drop out the sky, floating in the clouds with doves and all of that. Not realizing he obviously didn't read Revelation 1:13-15. He didn't want to read that part, right? But they're talking about Armageddon, mentioned in Revelation 16, and ultimately, which is the ultimate battle of warfare, right? Battle of Megiddo. This is what they're talking about. The commander also argued that Trump was, quote, anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran. Remember I said that he was the linchpin. He was the spark to get the candle lit. The signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to Earth, and that the Iran war is part of God's plan. I mean, I don't have no problem with what he said, but the fact that it's now infiltrated into the military and they're teaching this as military doctrine, that's the problem. That's where it's like, whoa, what's going on? Okay. Let's continue. Hold on. Something. All right. Staying in move. All right, now look at this. Chasing the apocalypse. Radical Shiite clerics on American soil preach prophetic showdown with the U.S. So even here, you've got radical Shiite Muslims. They're saying this is the end. This is the final battle. Fox News digital investigation shows hardline Shiite ideologues framing conflict between the U.S. and Iran as prophecy for the arrival of the Mahdi, or the Messiah. So not only are we seeing it from the right, but we're seeing it from the left.
For many, the war with Iran and the killing of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei might seem like the climactic end to a long, brutal reign of terror by the theological clerics who have run the country since 1979. But, and mind you, man, if y'all go back, you check the history, man, and I do believe that I showed when the class I did when they overthrew Maduro, and I showed a whole article where they were showing about all of the particular regimes that America was involved with, regime changes, putting in their own dictators, essentially their own puppets, to control particular countries. They did it in South America, Central America. They've done it in the Middle East. In particular, they did it with Iran when they set up the Shah of Iran. Hardline, religiously, just like they did with Syria of recent. They used, Kurdish rebels and all that to overthrow Bashir al-Assad, the head of Syria, got him up out of there. And now they got a quote-unquote former head of al-Qaeda running the whole country. And that place is in shambles. So this much we know. America loves to overthrow, put in their puppet leaders, man, doing regime changes so that they can ultimately show collapses of countries, and they can go in there and say, well, y'all can't do it. We'll take it over and we'll do it for you. Okay. Now, but a Fox Digital News investigation reveals that for certain hardline Shiite ideologues, including in the U.S., this is not an ending, but a prophetic showdown that will usher in the arrival of the Mahdi, a Messiah, according to Islamic eschatology, or the theology of end times. In this prophecy, Mahdi will emerge to battle the Dajjal, the Islamic equivalent of the Antichrist, in the final battle of Armageddon. For many of these ideologues, President Trump is the Dajjal. There you go. Continuing on. All right. Now, I'm not gonna play this. I might play just a little bit of this guy's speech, man. But this dude, man, Hegseth came out woofing. Pete Hegseth, Dragon Breath, issues battle cry to U.S. troops fighting in Iran as he declares, "We didn't start this war." I mean, how the hell can he even say that with a straight face? This shows you, man, they have no problem coming out just lying to your face. We didn't start this. Oh, you didn't start it 9 months ago when you bombed the nuclear facilities in Iran? You didn't start this by lying, saying that there was an imminent threat coming and we've seen nothing of the sort? Same way George Bush said that there was WMDs over there in Afghanistan and we got to stop them before they hit us, and there was nothing there? Far be it from the so-called white man to tell the truth. So he said they didn't start this, man. I guess they didn't launch an attack 7 days ago. How did the war get started then? What is he talking about? And reveals a chilling nuclear plot that threatened America. I mean, the same way that they said that, President Maduro was a big old drug dealer and slinging dope in America. We got to shut him down. The cartel crimes is all his fault and blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, that was only used as a means to go and invade and do a regime change. And you can say that this is a terroristic act and it's part of the threat to America sovereignty. Oh, we don't need Congress approval. We need to go make it happen. When you can say, oh, Iran is this terrorist organization, it's ran by terrorists, and they were planning an imminent threat of destroying American cities and people, and they were going to hit Israel, our number one ally. We got to do something. And meanwhile, you end up finding out it's a lie. Just what? Give it a little time, man. Everything's gonna pop out, and they're gonna say, man, yeah, it was a lie. We thought it was, but it is what it is now. Too bad. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth claimed that America didn't start this war, while warning that, quote, war is hell and it always will be. Hegseth vowed that the U.S. would crush the Islamic regime. We will finish this, he said. Hegseth also outlined the war and goal of the mission in Iran, which did not include regime change. That's a lie. The Pentagon announced more U.S. troops have been killed in the Middle East as a result of Donald Trump's war with Iran, a conflict President warns could drag out for weeks. Now, they're talking months. They're even talking forever. Notice they start changing up the language now. It's going to go as long as it takes, as long as we want it to. Trump said it's going to go on until I feel like. He said, I'm never going to get bored of this. Let's see.
We are continuing to follow the latest out of Iran and the expanding war in the Middle East. Let's turn now to CBS News national security contributor Joe Zacks. Zacks also served as the Deputy Assistant Director for Counterterrorism at the CIA. Joe, thank you so much.
Now, mind you, this is a news report that came out earlier today. Or, as a matter of fact, it might have been last night, but I believe it was today. I just got it this morning. Now, he went out there and made another bold threat. He said, Iran, he talks like a little kid. Iran will be hit very hard. You hit me very hard. Say sorry. Come on, man. Who talks like that? All right. Anyway, he warned that Iran is going to get hit very hard today. So, could be happening right now. Could be happening later. He could be lying. Why would you even tell your enemies, I'm going to hit you hard today? You don't think they're going to be prepared? You don't think they're going to get ready? So maybe he's trolling, maybe he's lying, or maybe he's actually going to do it. Whatever hit hard, very hard means, right? But he says this after, which we're going to get into, Iran's president apologized to his neighbors, the neighboring countries, which they bombed. I'm not going to spoil it. Let me let it go.
For joining us. We're now a week in, exactly, particularly with the planning and coordination that the U.S. has had with Israel here. How do you assess where we are right now?
Well, good morning, Adriana, and thank you for having me on. First of all, I'd like to note that my thoughts and prayers are with the families of the 6 fallen soldiers who will be returned this morning.
Now, mind you, you know how American media does it. They're saying that throughout this conflict, man, they ain't killed hundreds and I think it's hundreds of thousands, but we've got on record, at least we know the number of little girls that was put to death with that bombing last week. It's over 100 when they bombed that school. And they've hit 3 other schools since then. Of course, through this conflict, man, hey, only 6 troops. We've only lost 6. They've lost hundreds. Might be possible, but I believe that they're hiding and covering up the damage that's really being done. But we'll continue.
And I'm happy to see that our president will be at the dignified transfer ceremony. With respect to the military accomplishments, our military and Israel's military accomplishments this past week, I would say they have been exceptionally well delivered, and the effects have been very good. First of all, we see a virtual elimination of Iran's air defense capabilities. We're also subtly destroying the Iranian Navy and its ability to impact shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, as well as projection of regional power. We're eliminating a large portion of Iran's ballistic missile launch capabilities and their stockpiles, although I'd hasten to note that there is a good bit of Iranian missile capability that's in underground facilities, and that will take longer to get at. We're also effectively targeting their drone capabilities. We're eliminating large portions of the nuclear program that were not completely eliminated.
So, Joe, if our attacks have been so effective, why do you think the president is announcing that we're going to ratchet up our strikes?
Good question. If everything's going so great, why you feel as though you got to go even harder now? Only time that somebody would get more aggressive is if you're getting hit back. Like if a bully's getting hit, bully just pounds somebody out, man, eventually you're going to get bored. You're going to be like, all right, man, this dude, he got beaten in submission, man. I ain't having no fun with this no more. Then when you start hitting back, you're like, oh, shoot, you're hitting back now. Oh, okay, let's get to it. That's why. You can't never trust these cats, man. The same way that they said they destroyed. Remember, I showed the article last week and before when it happened. Back in June, the 12-day war, Trump ran out quick to flap his lips and say, we destroyed their nuclear facilities. They can be completely devastated and wiped out. They should be finished. There's nothing else they can do. And then guess what? 9 months later, they're going to bomb us with a nuke. Oh, shoot, we got to hit them. I thought the facilities was gone. Like, what are you talking about? So take this with a grain of salt. Them saying, oh yeah, we took out their missile facility, we took out there, we took out that, they're completely debilitated. We took out the ships, and we don't know if they're telling the truth, man.
Yeah, I think the one area where these kind of military operations that have so degraded their military capabilities.
Why do you think the president is announcing that we're going to ratchet up our strikes?
Yeah, I think the one area where these kind of military operations that have so degraded their military capabilities are difficult to achieve is with respect to regime.
He's not coming clean. I think with this military, no man, get straight to the point. He's trying to filibuster and make up, a whole little answer. You're right, Oscar Robbie. You get the he's trying to formulate a new lie, a new cover up, a new reason to buy him some time.
We are continuing to follow the latest.
And I'm happy to see that our president will be at the dignified transfer ceremony. Who will be returned this morning, and I'm happy to see that our president will be at the dignified transfer ceremony. With respect to the military accomplishments, our military and Israel's military accomplishments this past week, I would say they have eliminating large portions of the nuclear program that were not completely eliminated.
We're going to ratchet up our strikes.
Yeah, I think the one area where these kind of military operations that have so degraded their military capabilities are difficult to achieve is with respect to regime change. And I think that the next phase will likely target regime-related personnel and regime survival, regime facilities related to its survival. I think that's the phase we're going to go into.
Joe, as you know, regime change has never been brought about by an air assault alone, in addition to covert operations on the ground.
All right, I'm gonna stop that there. I see some Dustin and the crowd. Yeah, you're right. They've been talking about, man, some of them so-called bombings, man, was actually drawings. They wasn't even real planes. So they utilizing AI, technology, man, making it seem like things is not what they seem. Let's just put it that way. Man. There's a whole lot of lies going on out there. I got an article later on, man, that said you got to be careful because they're using AI to say that certain bombings is happening that ain't really happening. They showing pictures and drawings. Iranians saying that it's wild stuff going on, man. Let me continue on, and we're gonna get it all. Look at this. Trump says there will be no deal with Iran except for unconditional surrender. So we know Iran's not backing down. Iran's not bowing down. When they got defeated by the Greeks, that was the time they just gave it up. But they still are in existence. They still carried on with their religious traditions. They've got their land, so forth and so on, right? They fell under submission, but they're still here. Now, because now that this has been translated into a religious war, remember, Islam wasn't around 333 BC. I mean, prior to when the Greeks took down the Persians and the Medes. It wasn't worshiping Allah and all that. Now it's a whole nother zeal that they've got. And they're not giving that up. So the fact that Trump says there's not going to be a deal unless there's unconditional surrender, meaning there's no conditions that Iran can say, well, we'll stop we'll give up if you. Trump said, no, I want it all. Same way he did with Maduro. Maduro tried to offer him gold, oil, breaking relations with China and Russia. He said, man, what do you want? Tell me what you need, man. You can have it. Trump said, man, I don't want none of that. I want your unconditional surrender. There's no condition that you can negotiate with me. I'm going to take what I want and I'm going to get rid of you. I'm locking your butt up. To this day, we ain't seen a peep from that dude, man. They might have already cut him a deal, man. And might have him living in the south of France somewhere. Just so that they can take over the country, man. Now they got the little the puppet president over there, the female, I forgot her name. They got her over there, man, and she's over there letting them do what they want. $500 million oil deal. They just got to make it another deal for some trillions of dollars in gold, which we're going to look at too later. Stay with it. Unconditional. So that means, man, there's not going to be a stopping to this war because Iran said we ain't bowing down. So the fact that they went in saying it's going to be a quick operation, surgical strikes and all that, man, wait, negative. Don't believe me? Let Iran's president say.
Ever wondered where the web was born?
No, I haven't.
Here, in the labs of CERN, at the foothill.
Now, the Iranian president has apologized to his country's neighbors and has promised to stop.
Did he apologize to America? Did he apologize to Israel? Or maybe he was apologizing to Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, his fellow Muslim brothers. Apologize to them, not America. See, after he did this is when, Throughout show, Delcy Rodriguez is the new president, or the interim president of Venezuela. You see here, this is after they said this, that they apologized. Trump took that as weakness and said, well, or maybe he took it like, you didn't apologize to us, so I'm going to hit you very hard. Good Lord. Pause for you youngsters out there.
To his country's neighbors and has promised to stop carrying out strikes against them unless Iran is targeted by attacks that are launched from their territory. Masoud Pezeshkian appeared in a pre-recorded speech on state television this morning, where he also addressed President Trump's demand that Tehran should surrender unconditionally to the US.
They should take the dream that we surrender unconditionally to their grave. What we
He said they should take the dream of an unconditional surrender to their grave. This is the president. This is the man who's calling the shots. This is his religious leader behind him, right? That's who got put to death. So let's not get it twisted. Sometimes people didn't understand the dynamics and the politics over there. They thinking he was the president over here. No, he's the religious figure. He's the head. He's the one that speaks on behalf of, the motivations of the country based around religious, advisories. But he's the cat calling the shots. Masoud Pezeshkian. Now, he told America, man, you can take that dream, man, and go to the grave with it. We ain't bowing down.
They should take the dream that we surrender unconditionally to their grave. What we are committed to are international law, human frameworks, and the principles they talk about. They should be committed to those principles. They can't ignore the rights of any country, including Iran. I should apologize to the neighboring countries that were attacked by Iran on my own behalf. What happened was that our commanders and our leader lost their lives following barbaric aggression, and our armed forces, the champions that are sacrificing their lives to defend our territorial integrity, fired at will because their commanders were absent and did whatever was necessary. They proudly and powerfully defended our homeland.
So he said, man, look, after our religious leader died, man, some people went rogue and got to lighten up everything around them. Anybody that was harboring Americans, man, they said, forget it. Let them have it too. Now, once they reined it back in and said, okay, let's get back to it. Hold on. Remember, China created a bridging of the gap between the Shiites and the Sunnis, between Iran and Saudi Arabia, which they had a long-lasting blood feud regarding who was to be which sect of Islam was supposed to be leading, the leading head of the doctrine between the Shia and the Muslim. the Shia and the Sunnis. So essentially, that's what he's kind of acknowledging. Like, hey, they hit up the UAE, they hit up Qatar, they hit up, multiple places, man. Abu Dhabi. So they was like, hold on, man. Well, we hit up Kuwait. Let's let them know, man. Our bad. We was acting a fool, but we trying to defend our territory, man. We don't know friend or foe. But now he's like, the one thing we got in common, man, is Islam, Allah, and so forth and so on. We had a pact earlier that we're gonna honor them. Now Agent Orange hears that and says, what? Oh, you trying to make friendly with your peoples? Oh, we're gonna hit you very hard then. And if you don't give us an unconditional surrender, man, that's your A double dollar sign. That Esau, man, is so damn prideful, man, and evil and wicked. It's not even funny that he can go out there, especially with Pete Hegseth talking about, we're gonna ignore the rules of engagement in regards to war. To hell with all of that. He's talking, basically calling all the military killing machines, and they need to go out there and do it. He's going to unleash them and let them do what they were built for, what they're supposed to do. And when your enemy's down, you're supposed to kick them, and no mercy. And anybody seen that Karate Kid show with the head of the what was the name of the other? Mr. Miyagi in the dojo, and then you had the Cobra Khan, and their slogan was "No mercy." Like that's what Hegseth is saying. No mercy, right? Proverbs 10:11 says, "The mouth of a righteous man is a well of life, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked." He's woofing big stuff about death, destruction. They're destroyed, they're finished, and we're going to keep pounding them out, and we don't care, and we don't care about the rules of engagement. There is no rules. And I mean, he's essentially just letting the blood ooze out of his damn fangs, man. He wants more death, more violence. Doesn't matter who they are, women, children, kids, because those reports of them schools getting bombed is known worldwide now. When they asked Pam Bondi about it, she was like, "Oh, we heard about that, but we're not sure if it's confirmed. We're going to research it and get back to you." No, he's acknowledged, man, violence is covering the mouth of who? The wicked, not the righteous. This is not a righteous war that, Americans fighting for its sovereignty and fighting for their lives, and everybody that, no. Proverbs 6:16. These things doth Yahweh hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, which we see on the faces of Pete Hegseth, see it on the faces of Donald Trump and all the rest of them, war hawks like Lindsey Graham and all of them. They love it. Trump, said last week, man, hey, we're going to lose some lives. That's the cost of doing business. So what? But you don't see them recruiting his son. Where's Barron Trump at? They put out some reports talking about he's too tall. He was too tall for the military. So, he doesn't qualify. So he can still go in there. I think he's going to NYU or whatever, parading around. No. They're going to put to death the soldiers, the Black, Hispanic, Native American, and even, his own people and all the rest of the nations in this melting pot, man. They can go get put to death. A proud look, a lying tongue, which we didn't start this war. Huh? Okay. Hands that shed innocent blood, bombing and killing in cities and schools. And what does the GMO small hats do? They was bombing refugee encampments over there in Gaza. And how much innocent blood has been shed, right? We ain't even talking about at the hands of the destruction of the Native Americans, so-called blacks, Hispanics, the colonization of this country and the islands. We didn't talk about that. We talking about currently what's going on, and that's enough for the world to be like, man, this isn't right. They're committing war crimes. Oh, but put a warrant out for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu. Huh? We're just talking about currently. We ain't even talking about the legacy that he's had against our people. Throw the book away. It's over. That's what the Lord hates. And he's committing all of them. A heart that deviseth wicked imaginations. Oh, they want to surveil, monitor. They want AI. They want to be able to transhumanism, legalizing transmission changes between male and female. I mean, count them guilty for this. Feet that be swift in running to mischief. Oh, get the USS Gerald Ford over there. Get the Lincoln over there. Oh, we need more planes, F-16s over there. Troops on the ground now is being mentioned and being done. A false witness that speaketh lies. There's weapons of mass destruction over there. Yep, I saw them. Oh yeah, they're getting ready to, they were going to hit us first. There was imminent attack coming. And he that soweth discord among brethren. You just seen all of the damn troops rebelling against this Trump being anointed by Jesus, and this is a holy war. Now there's discord even amongst the military. You see what's happening amongst the MAGA, the MAGA movement. He just kicked out. This is so fun. This is how you know they're political gangbanging. When I talk about the bloodlet kids in the demo crips, again, I didn't coin that. That was Gerald Celente. I'll give him the credit, but I had to run with it. Agent Orange, man, just kicked out what's his name? Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, famed reporter, podcast, all the other stuff now. Told him he's not MAGA anymore. That sounds just like, and I wish that damn video that I did regarding the marathon shooting and the gangbanging and all that was, went through, because it would tie into this. Kicked him off the set. He told him, man, you ain't MAGA no more, man. You ain't from the hood no more. Booted him out the hood. Now he's not MAGA no more, man. So Tucker Carlson, man, is now a lonely renegade out there, man. They kicked him out the hood. They kicked Kristi Noem out. They kicked Elon out. If you ain't proudly waving the flag, man, good, bad, or indifferent, man. If you speak up against anything, man, they booting you out. So they just kicked him out too, man. Right? So there you go. Sowing discord amongst brethren. Lord hates all these things. White man revels in it. He loves it. Let me see if this is gonna work. You know what? Nah, I'm gonna try this. Maybe it's gonna work. Maybe I don't have to manually go to the. Hey, look at that. All praise. Sirach 5:13. Honor and shame is in talk, and the tongue of man is his fall. This is how you know he's sitting back, allowing the white man. He's going up there proud, boastful, talking big stuff, man. I'm sure some of y'all seen that press conference that Pete Hegseth, Dragon Breath did. I mean, that proud boasting, man, and the tongue of man is his fall, man. Trump says a whole lot of stuff, man. The Lord said, man, that's going to cause him to fall. That's going to be his ultimate downfall, man. There's no restraint with the tongue. Sirach 9. One more. Sirach 9 and let's read 18. A man of an ill tongue is dangerous in his city. See, the cat man that's doing all the woofing, man, is going to be the one man and get somebody put to death. Get himself put to death. The lies, the distortions, man, the threats. Dangerous in the city, man. That's what's going to end up causing this place to get hit up. America going to get bombed. That's why Iran was like, man, you can take that unconditional talk to the grave, man. Because we're prepared to go there. Are you? And Trump sitting over there in Mar-a-Lago chilling like, I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to send the troops over there. A man of an ill tongue is dangerous in the city, and he that is rash in his talk shall be hated. This is why the rest of the world is saying, man, the hell with that woman, man. The hell with that stinking hoe of Babylon. We don't like her no more. And now America is becoming more hated by the day, man. Internally, man, they said, man, that the favor of those who are in favor of the war, man, is diminishing, man. More people are against this war than are for it. Right? So discord is being sown up, man. It's all here. It's all relevant. It's all bringing forth the judgment, man. All praise to the Most High. That's what it is. If we're looking at how big a regional war is this becoming, is this just between Iran and Israel and Iran and America? No, you can see right here. This is where all the bombings have been taking place. This is why, the president of Iran was like, hey, let me apologize to my partners over here, man, because we did let off, but we didn't mean it. We was upset. Dubai, United Arab Emirates, Iran and allied armed groups fired missiles at Israel, Arab states, and U.S. military targets around the region on Monday, while Israel and the United States pounded Iran as the war expanded to several fronts. Kuwait mistakenly shot down 3 American warplanes over its sky. So, the couple losses that America took, it was friendly fire. America just can't be touched. You leave it to them, man, that they can do no wrong. Nothing. They're so surgical, man. Nobody ever dies in they. Oh, excuse me, except for the 4 soldiers, or was it 6? I think it was 4. Select. But here's just a little map, man. This is where the bombs have been taking place. Strikes in Iran. You can see Iran's been getting lit up, supposedly. Retaliatory strikes is in the red. So they've been hitting up Israel, Lebanon, all over the place, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE. But these are all places that harbor American bases and all of that and have, legitimate ties to America. So this is what we see is going on right now. So if we're wondering if there's war in the Middle East jumping off, just look. Yes. Here are all the countries now involved in the Iran conflict: UAE, Qatar, Kuwait. So we're seeing all of these particular nations that's involved. Right? Bahrain, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Lebanon, Iraq, Cyprus. Yeah, Cyprus. Hello Island. They got hit with some drone strikes. So multiple nations are now involved in this war. And that's not it. That's not it. There's even more involved. So when we're going along with the narrative of a world war where multiple nations are going to war, as Christ prophesied, this is what we're encountering. So ultimately, as World War III began, very possibly so. The UK, France, and Germany are also arming up, saying they're getting ready. They're also saying, hey, we've got, bases set up too in these particular areas. Cyprus in particular with the UK, they like, hey, man, you hitting them is like hitting us. We might have to get involved. So now you've got European nations involved, Middle Eastern nations involved, America, Israel, European nations involved. Russia now is saying, hey, man, you untied our hands. You're getting reports now that Russia's giving intel to Iran about American bases and all that other stuff and where they can hit American targets. So Russia, by default and proxy, is involved. And you got some ignorant damn Negro out there talking about this World War III, you dumb Israelite, black Hebrew Israelites talking like. And he's supposed to be an Israelite, I guess. Look at it. Iran threatens to nuke Israel with a chilling image showing missile obliterating Tel Aviv. So this is propaganda. They posted this saying, hey, supposedly they don't have a nuke, but they sent the post saying, essentially, this is what, we're leading up to. This is what it could lead to. This is what we're planning. So they took it as a threat. Iran has shared a chilling image of a nuclear missile striking an Israeli city, which appears to be Tel Aviv. In a post on X, the account previously belonging to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei warned that Karam Shah is ahead in reference to the ballistic missile named after the Iranian city. Included in the post was also a striking image of the missile being developed underground, fired from a mobile launcher and hitting what appears to be the Israeli city. In another post, the account promised consequences by God's grace for the Zionist regime. So, these are particular posters being put on X. They're putting up, but they're from, Iranian accounts, supposedly from the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. But of course, he's put to death. So they can say, oh, it got hacked. We didn't say that. We didn't do it. Who knows? But the threats are there, right? Is the CIA planning to arm Kurdish forces to spark an uprising in Iran? Not planning. They are, and they have. It's already been lit, right? Remember, they was already talking about no ground troops. But that's the foolishness that goes on. When America tells white lies, like, oh, well, we said no troops, we meant American troops. That doesn't mean that we're not going to recruit in some jackals of the Middle East and you know, pay them and motivate them and get some armed militants over there to do our dirty work. The U.S. spy agency CIA has a history of working with Kurdish groups in neighboring Iraq, which the U.S. invaded in 2003. Washington also funded, armed, and trained Kurdish fighters in Syria against former President Bashar al-Assad. Keep that in mind. Washington funded, armed, and trained Kurdish fighters in Syria. Who was the ultimate? Who's the ultimate leader of that? A so-called former leader of Al Qaeda. So there's various sects of Kurdish, you know, fighters and whatnot, right? And Kurds, and there's a vast majority of them that are actually Al Qaeda. So how do we know which ones are being used? We see the ones that took over Syria. You know, just because the cat shaved down his beard, someone took off his, you know, his mitre and, you know, his military gear and threw on a suit. Does that mean his ideologies have changed? Does that mean that he doesn't believe what he believes anymore? Has he denounced, you know, the radical forms of Islam under Al Qaeda? No, I doubt it. But America's always been doing that. You know, what's the name? I'm drawing a blank. Man, the cat they was blaming for 9/11. It's gonna come to me. If not, help me out. Somebody in the chat, help me out. Damn, why am I drawing a blank on that cat, man? Man, I'm drawing a blank. Osama bin Laden. There you go. Bin Laden. I wanted to say Obama. I wanted to say it's not Obama. Bin Laden. Bin Laden, Osama, right? Now, mind you, he was part of the Mujahideen and them training up the Muslim troops back in the 80s, man. They eventually turned into Al Qaeda. They were using them to fight the Russians in the Cold War, trying to help them, quote unquote, liberate. I mean, Americans always acting like they trying to help somebody, and they meanwhile are utilizing them to do their dirty work. And then when they sit back and let them loose and do what they want to do, they end up, you know, committing jihad, going crazy in the Middle East. And they're like, man, what you expect? This is how we get down. Then America sit back and act like they're the saviors and say, well, we got to go over there and stop them. We got to do something about it. Oh, they're going crazy over there. Crazy jihadists. Meanwhile, you were the ones that trained them and helped them. Stuff is all backwards, man. It's like a damn bizarro world. Wild, you know, myriad of lies that they go out there and promote. It's the typical problem, reaction, solution scenario, man. Hegelian dialectic, man. That's the doctrine America lives by. Okay. So they're asking, are they planning them? Well, let's.
This just in, it's big. A U.S. official telling Fox thousands of Iraqi Kurds have launched a ground offensive in Iran.
Oh, now there you go. They said they already did it. Now, you see over here in the little corner, Senate vote on the War Powers Act. That was the one that they shut it down. They said, nope, the war is going to continue. It's justified. Now, they said that Iraqi Kurds launched ground offensive in Iran.
Decimated, destroyed, defeated. All words the Pentagon used to describe Iran's various military forces on day 5 of Operation Epic Fury. Moments ago, President Trump touting its success.
So we're in a very strong position now, and their leadership is just rapidly going. Everybody that seems to want to be a leader, they end up dead. And it's an amazing thing that's taking place. Their missiles are being wiped out rapidly. Their launches are being wiped out. They're attacking their neighbors. They're attacking their, in some cases, allies, or not so long ago allies. And, you know, it's really a nation that was out of control, and they would have used it on us if we let them.
Okay. So, you know, the lies continue, right? Now, the way they put it out there, man, you would think that Iran is just getting beat down to submission. If they was getting everything that they tried was failing, you would think they would have been through in the time. Like, man, we just can't get these guys, man. Forget about it, man. Before we lose more of our people, before we lose it all, let's just stop. Obviously, that ain't what's going down. They ain't talking about Tel Aviv being under siege and getting bombed, and the Israeli targets getting hit. They ain't talking about the American ship got hit. They ain't talking about the bases getting hit. They ain't showing the footage of them out there running through the streets and scared as hell over there in Israel and everywhere else. They ain't showing none of those things. But you leave it to them. I mean, if you're winning like that, why you need to even throw in the Kurds? You was doing fine without them. Oh, you need more. So that 3 against 1 at this point right now. And they sit back acting as if they're carrying out this big old great, assault. Like, what are you talking about, man? It's 3-on-1 right now. And you still haven't done what you say you're doing. All right, I'm not gonna play no more of that for time's sake. Let's move on. NATO air defenses shoot down Iranian missile headed toward Turkey. So this is what they were talking about. When the Iranian president popped down and said, "Hey, man, look, some stuff went on. Yeah, we were shooting, but we're falling back now." But remember, Turkey condemned the war. Turkey was like, "Look, man, we're not with it, and we don't like what America's doing." Turkey caught a little crossfire. They didn't get hit, but they were, the missiles going over Turkey. They said going towards Turkey, but they wasn't trying to hit Turkey. But anyway, so NATO got involved because Turkey is a NATO aligned country, and they knocked down, a missile, right? So the missile had flown over Iraq and Syria, according to a ministry statement posted on social media. It did not say what the missile's target was believed to be. Remnants of the ordnance that shot it down fell in Turkey's south central province of Hatay, near the border with Syria, injuring no one, the statement says. So, missiles are flying all over the place over there, right? Now, why are they talking about this? Paranoid. Pentagon officials are secretly panicking. There's reports out there, man, that said that Iran is just kind of playing possum, man. They trying to let America wear out their munitions. And there's been talk about America running out of munitions. Iran's got some particular missiles, man, that they got by the thousands, that they just kind of let them things fly and just go. And then America and Israel is using more high-tech, more expensive weaponry to knock them down, but they're coming so in waves. It's just like I always make mention about the 300 and the Persians and the Medes. And you see essentially, which is in the scriptures, when you see King Ahasuerus in Esther, like that king that's on there, that's supposed to be him. Now, you've got essentially them utilizing those particular missiles where they're just letting them rain and going crazy, and America and Israel spending all this money trying to knock them down, and they like, man, they keep coming, we keep knocking them down. And Iran is kind of like, that's not even our real weapons. We just kind of like throwing these at you to wear yourself out. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. So yeah, Xerxes is Xerxes the First is who you see in that movie The 300 when they rained all them arrows down on the Spartans. That's what essentially they're doing right now. They're just launching all kinds of missiles, man, letting Israel and America wear out their munitions and hoping that they run low. That's why Trump was like, we're not running low. We can go on forever. Doesn't matter. They can do what they want to do. But what are they doing? Pentagon officials are secretly panicking. Pentagon officials are worried about Trump's Iran strikes spiraling out of control if they stick to his timeline. While the president boasts that the strikes could continue for several more weeks, military leaders are sounding the alarm behind the scenes about U.S. air defense stockpiles running out if the fighting goes on that long. Now imagine if they run out, man, will he use the big boys, man? Will he go ahead and just say, you know what? Tactical nukes, man, forget it. We can't just keep going up. We can't let this slide. We got to just go. Right now, the mood here is intense and paranoid, one insider told the Washington Post. While U.S. Central Command said more than 1,000 targets had already been wiped out, and the White House has boasted of destroying most of the country's top leadership, Iran has still managed to unleash a huge number of retaliatory attacks, reportedly alarming military officials. So they've been hitting them with everything that I ain't gonna say everything, but they've been hitting them hard, and they like, damn, these little bastards won't go away. they keep firing back at us. Call the Kurds. Get the Kurds in here. Help. Okay. Look at it. The 4 leaders even worse than Ali Khamenei set to take over Iran. So, the new boss, same as the old boss. If they're worried about, a dictator and, whatever else is going on under Ali Khamenei, they say, man, this forecast lined up behind them that's even worse than him. So if we're talking regime change and America's got anything to do with it, they're definitely going to pick one of them that's worse than the first to really destabilize Iran, to where they really get the begging, saying, come back and save us, America. Just take over the whole country. We don't care. You can have it. That's what they're hoping that America will do. So you got his son that was supposed to be in line, Mojtaba Khomeini, whose family succession is frowned on in Iran, following the toppling of an unpopular monarchy in 1979. Mojtaba, 56, the second son of the late supreme leader, has been floated as a frontline candidate to replace his father. They say he's worse than his pops, man. So if you're talking about, the people who's complaining about his pops, if he take over, they saying he's even worse. Ali Reza Arafi, 67, is an established Iranian cleric who was a close confidant of Khomeini and serves as deputy chairman of the powerful Guardian Council and head of Iran's seminary system. Mohammed Mahdi Mirgaragi, another extremist religious voice. So it doesn't sound like anybody they put up in there, man. They're all either Iranian clerics or priests. In our terms, they'll be like priests or religious leaders who's going to continue on. And if they're already looking at this as a religious war, a new crusade, a new Armageddon, a new end time warfare, anybody they put up in there, man, they're going to continue this thing without a shadow of a doubt. So America's looking like, are these our options? No, we got to find somebody else. So the war will continue until we find somebody else. And Iran is not having it. No regime change. The president said, man, take it to the grave, man. Because the next religious leader is only going to be even worse than the first, and it's going to continue on. Defiant Khomeini loyalists blast Trump's delusional fantasies as he warns, we will not negotiate, so there's not going to be no peace talks, no negotiating. You've just seen the War Peace Act getting turned down here in America, so anybody looking for an early end, I don't see it. Look, France and Germany warned they could join the war in Iran. So if we're wondering if this is a world event, it is the EU, and these are NATO-aligned countries. So all it takes is for one of them to get involved. Iran launches any strikes against them. Now NATO is involved. Now it gets even more global. Now it gets even more serious, right? Macron orders France's nuclear-powered aircraft carrier to the Mediterranean. So France has already made a move. French President Emmanuel Macron on Tuesday ordered France's nuclear-powered aircraft carrier to move from the Baltic Sea to the Mediterranean to help protect Allied assets during the war in the Middle East. So France is involved, right? Russians threaten horror strikes on Europe in revenge for Iran. Trump untied our hands. So now Russia's saying, man, you gave us all the reasoning that we need to get involved. Now you see, the European nations are saying, well, we're going to go get involved. Russia comes out and says, oh, no, you're not. That's between them. If you jumping in, we're jumping in. It comes as Russian President Vladimir Putin expressed condolences over the death of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. And there's even a video, I know Naquab, you have sent it. I forgot which, was it the Shah of Iran? But when they had the hostage situation in Iran back in the 70s, man, and they went out there and they said, man, that they were going to let the black hostages go because they knew that we were already being oppressed and went through enough hell with America. And that's not to act like, the Iranians and all them love black people. They don't. But it was a political move to say, man, our beef ain't with the black folks, man. Let them go. We got problems with the snake. We got a problem with this harlot. You know, same way you hear about the rumors of in Vietnam, you know, black troops finding literature and things saying black folks go home. G.I. Jane, you know, the little Vietnamese radio show, man, she was saying, black man, go home. This is not your war. Black man, leave us alone. It's not you, right? Then you see some of these other little pundits, man, running for Trump, man. They talking about how ancient the weaponry is that Iran's got, and they ain't got a chance. They fighting with old planes and old this, that, and third. Hey, look, man, check this out. That doesn't even matter because you think that the damn the guerrillas in the Vietnam, do you think that they had the same technology and the weaponry that America had? No, but they fought tooth and nail, man, and went to the point to where America was like, all right, we had enough, we're out of here. Look at the Afghan war from 9/11. They fought for 20 years, man, out of caves and had AKs and whatever else they can get their hands on and weapons that they was able to, you know, accumulate. So it ain't about who got the biggest gun, who got the biggest. It's about the undying faith and the fortitude and the strength that a people has. You know, when they're fighting for their livelihood, when they're fighting for everything they got, when they're fighting for their religious freedoms and all that, they're gonna fight way more zealous and more harder than somebody who's like, man, why am I even over here, man? I don't even want to be here. Same my war. So matter of fact, I agree with it, but I got a job to do. It's a lot different, man. So, you know, I seen some of these other little political pundits talking about their work. I'm like, look, that don't even matter. As a matter of fact, hey, and Iran's got a hold of some things now. So Russia now even saying, man, we'll send you what you need. Russian propagandists have threatened to carry out a horror strike on Europe in response to Iran's missile attack, as the experts blamed Donald Trump for unwittingly creating political and psychological opportunities. On Sunday, Russian President Vladimir Putin expressed condolences over the death of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. The Russian president called the act a, quote, murder committed in cynical violation of all norms of human morality and international law. Speaking about Russia's next move, Sergei Knovkov, a former president and CEO of the Center for the National Interest, and Dmitry Sim, a former president and CEO of the Center for the National Interest, highlighted what needs to be done as he blames Europe for, quote, waging war against Russia. So in alignment with Ezekiel 38 and them being a guard to Persia or to Iran, Russia's coming to their aid saying, look, man, you're untying our hands. You're allowing us to get involved. You're opening the door and giving us excuse to now be part of this. Still don't believe it's world war? Okay, look at this. Zelensky. Ukraine has received U.S. requests for help with drones in the Middle East. So now Ukraine is saying that the U.S. has reached out to them and asked them to get involved and send some drones over there. So now you got 4 against 1. This is why Russia's saying, oh, you think you helping over there? Hold on. We can get cracking too. Zelensky says on Thursday that Ukraine have received a specific request from the U.S. for help in dealing with drones in the Middle East. We received a request from the United States for specific support and protection against Iranian-designed Shaheeds in the Middle East region, Zelensky writes in English on the X social media platform. I gave instructions to provide the necessary means and ensure the presence of Ukrainian specialists who can guarantee the required security. Look who else is involved. There you go. Ukraine-Russia war. Later, Zelensky asked U.S. to postpone upcoming peace talks due to Iran conflict. So now they're talking about they don't want no peace over there between Russia and Ukraine. They like, we got to keep it going over here. And they over here extending their alligator arms to try to help with this, Ukraine and Russia war. I mean, not Ukraine and Russia. I'm talking about Iran, Israel, and America. Any peace talks that you thought was going to happen between Ukraine and Russia, that's out of here. And the Negro talking about black Israelite talking about World War III, please. Huh? That's a problem, man. These Negroes, man, love America so much, man, love the heathen so much that they just don't want to go home. You don't want to see the end of this thing. You don't want to see the deliverance of your people, man. You love bondage, you love oppression. Get out the way. Ukraine and Russia. Zelensky says, man, we don't need to have no more peace talks, man. Let it go. And that's the Lord. The Lord said, man, look, when you asking for peace and safety, sudden destruction is going to happen, according to in the book of Thessalonians. Forget about it, man. The bow's been shot, the arrow's been launched. I mean, you know, the door's open. All the nations now are all lining themselves up for war. Just like Joel said, man, tell all the nations, man, beat your plowshares and the swords. All the heathens, man, gather together, man. War is imminent. Starmer faces dilemma as British base in Cyprus is hit by a drone. So in Cyprus, they get hit up, man. The Greek affiliate nation, they getting hit up. Now you got Starmer and NATO saying, "Hey, man, we got to get prepared too." Right? We covered that. Iranian missile attack set to strain U.S. interceptor stockpiles. So you know that's what you got to talking about, man. U.S. is using all their stockpiles to intercept all these missiles. And Iran is just launching them off, man. They got plenty. And they like, man, just wear them out. It's just like the rope-a-dope. You know, for y'all remember the fight between Ali and George Foreman? And Ali was using the rope-a-dope, man. He was letting Foreman, man, wear himself out. And Ali was taking some shots too, man. Ali was getting hit. But the resiliency, man, he had to stick to the plan. And eventually, man, once Foreman got wore out, man, Ali came back. Boop, 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 boop. Put Foreman on his pockets, man. And that's what and what's so cold is that that's a cold fight too, because Ali took some shots, man, and Ali went at it. This boxer Shannon Briggs, man, he said he's never been hit more harder than but by George Foreman. And this was in George Foreman's latter years. He said, man, it felt like Foreman had concrete or cement in his gloves, man, when he got hit. He was like, man, nobody hits harder than Foreman. That's why it was so amazing what Muhammad Ali did, because Muhammad Ali took some shots, man. But eventually he put him down. So this is essentially what Iran is doing. Iran is like, man, we got plenty of them. We're just going to keep launching. Let America go ahead on and keep bombing them. Once they run out, then we can really get the crack. So that's what the U.S. is facing. Iran launches attack on the largest U.S. base in the Middle East and warns Trump the gates of hell will open. But we just heard Trump say, man, all of their missile interceptors are getting taken out. Their launching facilities getting taken out. Every leader that pops up, they get put to death. Like, they've got nothing going on. Really? Iran has launched attacks on America's largest base in the Middle East as it warned Donald Trump the gates of hell will open. You know, this is why you got to wonder where he says, oh, we're going to hit you very hard today. Again, pause for you little Jakes that love the pause game. Why are you feeling low? You got to really come back with even bigger guns and recruiting even more if you win it. Think about that. Just like the woman asked, the reporter asked the ex-CIA analyst. He's like, man, if you're winning, why are you threatening bigger guns? This is part of the strategy. Strategy. What? Sit back, man. Relax. The Islamic regime army said Tuesday its forces were launching attacks on Al Udeid Air Force in Qatar, which hosts up to 10,000 troops and serves as a major forward headquarters for U.S. Central Command. So, you know, they ain't letting up. They hitting up America, right? Trump says U.S. is ready to fight Iran for far longer than 4 weeks, and he won't get bored if it drags up. So remember that early talk, man. Is this going to be a couple weeks? Don't worry. Same thing that they, told everybody about the damn COVID thing. 14 days to stop the spread. You just, quarantine, you'll be all right. You don't really need the mask. Remember, Fauci was running. Mask really does a little bit, man. It's really not effective. That was within the first few months. You got to stop the spread. 14 days is all right. Next thing you know, man, 3 years later, man, your ass is quarantined. Some people lost their jobs. People getting shot in the arms and dropping dead suddenly and everything else. Oh, all that was a lie. They got WMDs. 20 years later, they, still destroying them and blowing up and catching body counts all over the place. Oh, it's going to be precision strikes. It's going to be a few weeks. I guarantee you that definitely not going to take forever. Yeah, we'll be fine. Now all of a sudden it's, let's move the goalposts. It's going to take far longer than we thought. And Trump says, man, I'm not going to get bored of, troops dying. I'm not going to get bored of bombing, elementary schools and killing kids. I'm not going to get bored of, bombing and destroying civilian communities over there in Iran, man. I'm good with that. Yeah, they already said, man, hundreds of civilians have already been put to death. They're not aiming at and going at military targets over there. Remember, Hegseth said, man, hey, kick them while they're down. There's no rules right now. We're gouging our eyes. We're kicking you in your privates, man. We don't give a damn. Biting your ears. We're doing it all. No rules of engagement, all of that. Right? Now, Trump obliterates meeting to pick a new Iranian leader. Oh, I thought it wasn't about regime change. Oh, okay. Another lie. Trump obliterates meeting to pick new Iranian leader and tells survivors it's too late to negotiate as Iran attacks another major oil refinery. So the oil refineries is getting hit, man. They shutting off the damn oil. They close the Strait of Hormuz, which a third of the oil goes out, man. They told China you can come through and get yours. Trump talking about, we'll pay the insurance for the boats and you'll get U.S. escorts over there. Don't worry, man. Them oil refineries, man, them shipping and trackers are like, man, we're not trying to go through no damn war zone. We'll protect you. Don't worry. Nobody's trying to get sold on these lies, though. And speaking of the boots on the ground, man, brother told me his grandson has already been deployed. So, and they've got a report out that said one of the Air Force bases, I forgot where it's at, they've already stopped their training or prepared for their new orders, which is many are speculating is they're going to be, shipped out for ground invasion and ground attack, which they said they would never do. But hey, man, when you're dealing with the damn devil, expect the forked tongue to whack and slap you in the face a couple times. So there you go. He said it's too late. They don't want to negotiate, man. It's warfare going down all day long. U.S. is seeking an armed uprising inside Iran with a ground operation expected within days. Hello? You hear the Kurds. The American troops is on the way, right? Well beyond the 12-day war. We're at 7 days now. It's going to continue on. They didn't recruit it in. Extra help. And they said they want an armed uprising in Iran. So, not only that, but they're over there promoting and trying to tell the people, man, rise up. Remember Trump said that? He said, hey, once we're finished with this, Iran, the country's yours. Seize the opportunity. Get it now. We're going to hand it over to you. At the same time, he's like, but stay in the house. It's dangerous. We're bombing everywhere and anything. So they tried with the uprising, with the protests and all that a few months ago. That didn't work. Now they had to go in there with the bombs, man. They had to bring in the big guns. And now they're influencing and telling people, man, get out there. They was already talking about Mossad agents over there, man, paying off and stirring up strife with the Iranian people saying, get out there, protest. You already seen all of the people, man, all of them old fake, them fake people partying in the streets and all of that. And you see people talking about, look, the Iranians are celebrating the bombing and the killing of Khomeini, man. Some of them may have been happy, man. For all intents and purposes, they said the guy wasn't a good dude, but that wasn't footage of people partying in Iran. The people in Iran was running around there saying death to America and carrying, burning flags and wilding out. Those are people protesting. Those are people partying in the streets of London, New York, and other places, man. People who were safe, wasn't worried about nothing. People who already made their escape and their exodus, man. Same way they did with Maduro. As soon as he gets kidnapped, all of a sudden all these damn planned parties and protest, people jumping out of nowhere, man. We covered that and exposed that too. But, you know, this is how they play these games. See, the people, Iranian people, they want this. See what's going on. Meanwhile, it's people who ain't even in Iran. They're Iranians, but they've been left. They hanging out in the streets in London and everywhere else. They ain't the ones over there really getting hit and getting bombed and seeing they children getting put to death in these schools and all of that, man, scooping up dead bodies and limp 5 and 6 year old kids. They ain't doing that. United States seeking an armed uprising inside Iran, right? And they talking about the ground invasion coming. Now look at this. Remember earlier we talked about the Kurds, man, taking over Syria. So I put in the internet, man. I said, well, how, you know, what's the status of Syria right now? Are they in a better situation, worse, or the same? Says America decided to get involved and say, we're going to liberate the Syrian people and we're going to get rid of that wicked leader, Bashar al-Assad, and we're going to help you guys. Okay, here we go. Look at it. 1 year after Bashar al-Assad was ousted in December of 2024, Syria is in a fragile transitional state under interim leader Ahmed al-Sharaa, which is the ex-Al-Qaeda leader. While the 14-year civil war has ended, the country faces significant security, economic, and sectarian challenges, including persistent armed clashes, targeted attacks on minorities, and a desperate humanitarian crisis despite some diplomatic engagement. So are they in a better situation or worse? Remember, man, every time America gets involved, every time Esau puts his hand in something, man, it's more wickedness, more corruption, more violence, more death, more, destruction that comes along with it, man. Syria is not in a better place. It's even worse. Why? Because they got a damn Al-Qaeda leader over there, man, letting all hell break loose. And now they're just going to wait for them to cry out again and let some corruption go down over there. And America going to say, hey, we gave you a chance, man. Now we got to go in there and bomb you and take over this. Leadership and governance of countries in a transitional period. We already read that. So, I mean, pretty much you can get the gist of it, man. Security issues, economic issues, armed clashes, attacking minorities, man, you name it. Ain't nothing changed. It's even worse. Again, old boss, same as the new boss. Or the new boss, same as the old boss, I should say. Right. So what are they expecting in Iran? Oh, we got rid of Ali Khamenei. The new cleric is going to be somebody nice that, loves the people. Is going to, no, it's going to be even worse. They might kill the president. Oh, the next one's going to be even worse. That's regime change for America. Iran's new Ayatollah vows to shed Trump's blood in chilling televised address. So apparently they're not backing down. They ain't scared of America. They talking about, man, take your unconditional deal to the grave, man. We want your blood. You name it. So this is going to continue on. Now, this is a cold thing too, man. Do you know that these damn bloodthirsty demons, man, they were betting. There were bets placed on the attack. Insider trading, in other words, man. Poly-market accounts earned $1.5 million in bets on date of U.S. strikes on Iran, including 6 suspected insiders. So Esau, man, is over here betting hundreds of thousands of dollars on when the bomb was going, who was going to bomb first, and deaths and all that. And some cast was walking away with $1 million bet. You can bet on that right now through these particular channels, betting on death and destruction, man. That's why this place got to go, man. Several users on the U.S.-based prediction market platform Polymarket have apparently earned $1.2 million by betting on the timing of U.S. Israeli strikes on Iran, according to a new report. Now, they're saying that $1.2 million, some of these insiders, man, meaning they had inside information that America was going to bomb Saturday morning. They placed the bet and they made the money. So they already knew that this was going to go down. And they made it come up. At least 5 users placed the correct bets on Polymarket, a prediction platform with ties to Donald Trump Jr. That has previously been investigated by federal regulators. According to Guardian's Aisha Down, at least 7 different accounts on the platform Polymarket appear to have collectively made $1.5 million on bets that the U.S. would strike Iran this weekend. 5 of these accounts are new accounts that have been made no other bets. One more appears to have only also bet on strikes last weekend. So they knew what time it was. That's the only bet that they made. They made it come up $1 million and some change, all off of insider trading, man. So they're betting on war. They're betting on death and destruction, man. And they're making come ups with insider information. You tell me that ain't wicked, ain't you? Oh, it's about liberating people, imminent strikes. It's about freeing the Iranians. It's about allowing the women to drive and take the hijab off and throw on some jeans. What? That ain't got nothing to do with none of this stuff. Sleeper cells, man. Is this what's going on? Even during the week, man, all of a sudden, this guy pops up. A Senegalese native, man. He went and shot up a bar down there in Austin, Texas. Suspect identified. The Austin, Texas bar shooting that left 2 dead, 14 injured. Property of Allah. Now, some people are saying, hey, man, this is a false flag. Run with whatever you want to run with. I got my own thoughts about it. But what we're seeing is the possibility of sleeper cells in America very well could be going on. Look at this. So they had one cat man shot up the bar in Texas. Multiple emergency crews are on the scene of a mass stabbing with shots fired on the I-495 near Washington, D.C. At least 4 people have been stabbed on the Beltway, and the suspect has been taken down. This happened on March 1st after the bombing. That was on Sunday. Right? So you had the shooting in Austin, stabbings going on, and they were saying that this was in D.C. They were saying that this was possibly terrorist related. At the time they were still investigating. Ohio mass shooting, at least 9 people shot at a live music event, heavy police presence reported. So you got 3 particular incidences where quite possibly these could have been sleeper cells, man, that got activated, or just some zealots. They just say, hey, we don't like what's going on, man. They killed the Ayatollah, man. Let's go. Don't know. Because again, this was on the 1st as well. Ironically, same day, same incidences jumping off. Is it planned attack? Quite possibly. Who knows? Quite possibly. But one thing's for sure, 2 things for certain, man. It's got these Edomites up here on paranoid status. I'll tell you that much. Look at this. Global economy is facing the prospect of another profound shock. So because of this war in the Middle East, man, the global economy is suffering. As many of our people are seeing what's going on from the gas prices, this is going to impact, I think they said 1/3 of the fertilizer that comes through the Strait of Hormuz. Now that's getting shut down. So the Middle East, places like Arabia and all the Middle East countries, man, that are desert-based, they get 90 to 95% of their imports shipped to them. Everything gets imported there because they don't have the agricultural means to grow their own. So that's going to slow down. So if you're talking about famine, yeah, like Second Ezra talk about famine going to be happening. Matthew 24 is talking about famines happening in the land. Yeah, that's all going to be going down very soon. Look at it. In the most hopeful scenario for the global economy, the latest war in the Middle East ends within a few weeks. The region continues to produce oil and gas. Shipping resumes in the Strait of Hormuz, preventing a shock to the world's energy supplies. Fear of inflation subsides. Now, they said the most hopeful scenario. Everything that we've seen in red means it's going beyond a few weeks. Trump already said this is going to go a long time. He said we got weapons forever. In other words, this could be another forever war. Iran saying we ain't backing down, man. Take your threats, take all that negotiating to the grave, man. It's lit. We ain't stopping. So that means producing oil and gas gonna suffer. Shipping that goes through the Strait of Hormuz, meaning from the fertilizers to the goods and services, everything else, that's gonna suffer. Energy supplies suffer. Inflation going up. Experts cautioned against any hasty sense of reassurance. The American and Israeli bombing of Iran and Iranian reprisals throughout the region set dangers in motion that pose a substantial threat to the global economic fortunes. The most alarming fear centered on the possibility that the Iranian government pushed to the brink of elimination might unleash more aggressive retaliation, accepting the near certainty of the intensified bombing of its own territory at the cost of fighting another day. Iranians will presumably seek to damage the capacity to produce oil and gas in regional powers like Qatar and Saudi Arabia. So they're the ones that's going to suffer because of this, right? Now, look at this. Global flight cancellations top 23,000. Here are the here are the airlines affected. They're trying to tell people get up out of there. They can't go nowhere. All the flights is canceled. One of them damn politicians jumped. Who was it? I think it was Chuck Schumer. He was talking about the Iranian officials they're scheduling buses to get up out of there. Ain't nobody finna take no damn bus out of a country to a whole nother country. And there is no safe space because we've seen that bombs are flying in all these particular regions, man. They trying to fly to get the heck up out of here, out of the whole region. So there's no running for them, right? Flights are canceled, 23,000 shut down, right? U.S. tanker on fire, spilling oil into the sea as Iran issued a chilling 5-word warning. So oil tankers are getting hit again, threatening oil supplies. Iran, acknowledging their aggression to America. Iraq hit with total electricity blackout. So the power grid getting hit, man. Iraq got shut down, for a time on the 4th. This was a couple of days ago, right? Power grid completely shut down across all Iraqi provinces. The ministry says, according to the Iraqi news agency. So, man, bottom line, man, all hell is breaking loose in that Middle East region, man, as the Lord said it would. Scriptures say, man, that the Revelation 12, 16, the kings of the East has got to make their way over, man. All warfare is going to take place and going to evolve in that Middle East region. All the nations that we just got through seeing, all are going to be involved, and some. As we just got through seeing, European nations are getting involved too. I'm going to skip that one. No, look, U.S. launches military operations in Ecuador. So not only that, he's got his hands full over here in the Middle East. He still ain't forgot about trying to destabilize and take over Ecuador, just like he did Venezuela, just like he's trying to do with Mexico. Cuba, you can forget about it, right? U.S. forces have launched military operations with Ecuador against, quote, designated terrorist organizations. See, that's the cover. Oh, it's terrorist organizations. Oh, it's drug cartels, which they've been labeled terrorist organizations. Same way that they're going to do here in America, where they label groups like Antifa terrorist organizations. It ain't gonna be too long before they say, oh, them black identity extremists, the Israelites, they're terrorists. And anybody affiliated, anybody that rolls with it, that's why you see some jakes, oh, I'm not affiliated with, I'm not a black people Israelite anymore. I'm a Christian now. But what? You jakes get to separating real fast once they see the language changing and saying, oh, this may involve you. Yeah, I'm not with that anymore. I don't teach that. Oh, okay. All right. But remember, man, there is no negotiating with the beast. There's no sliding and slipping and getting up out of there, man. If you remember the history with Nicanor, after he, suffered his first loss against Judas Maccabeus, man, he went back to the priest who had just got to finish making the king's sacrifice, which was swine's flesh on the altar. Priest came out greeting him. Hey, Nicanor, man, we just finished the sacrifice, boss. Everything worked out great. Nicanor, man, laughed in the scorn, man, clowned him and told him, man, if Judas don't back down, man, I'm taking it out on you in this temple. I'm slaughtering all of you. So you thinking, you playing nice with him, you're going to turn on you too. All you got to do is change the language over the terrorist organization. What happened to the president of Ecuador, man, that Trump pardoned? That was slanging dope. Was locked up for it. He let him go. Why? Because he got friends in high places. He got friends in high places, man. All the little tech billionaires and all that, man, they was like, he's one of ours. We got uses for him. Fall back. He let him out. Same way they doing with the Epstein files and trying to cover up, That's why Trump, man. But you know what? Now they saying that whole accounting in the video. Well, I don't know if it's video, but I know they're reporting of that. They investigating that account of that. She was a little girl at the time. She was 14, man, wearing knee pads in front of Agent Orange, and she took a bite out of crime, and he socked her out and told her, "Hey, what the hell's wrong with you?" And kicked her out. Remember that? They tried to delete that, get rid of it. No, the DOJ then said, "Nah, we got to bring that up." No wonder it's bombs over Baghdad right now. No wonder it's, hey man, all eyes over there, not over here. What he's rushing over here to Ecuador, man, launching multiple wars, man. Anything to take the eyes off of him. You know, that's why they took over a year and some change, man, to redact his name and everything else. Because remember, that's what he campaigned on. For releasing the files and all that other stuff. And then 6, 7, 8 months into his campaign, everybody's like, hold on, what happened to those files? You promised that. Are we still talking about that? We need to move on. The guy's dead. Is it? They're like, no. We're not moving on from nothing. What are you hiding? That's all stall tactics, man. So they can redact his name, take everything off. And then when they feel comfortable, I think we got everything, Mr. President. Release the files. Go ahead. Let it out. Oh, we forgot this. Oh, we forgot about 6,000 more pages with you in here. We got rid of the 1,000,000 as he was running around. I'm exonerated. I didn't do anything. Everybody knows I'm clean. And then it's like, hold on, they forgot some stuff. Launch some bombs. Destroy this. Destroy that, man. All hell break loose. We can't talk about this. So we know a lot of cover-ups going on, man. And and now our people down there in Ecuador, man, they're gonna suffer the consequences because of a lot of folly going on. So multiple wars, man. He said he's the president of peace, man. Here go another war he started. With fuel running out, Cuba's tourism is collapsing. They said, man, Cuba's on the way to is almost out of here. He's cut off any oil coming to them, any energy coming to them, supplies coming to them. He told anybody that's dealing with Cuba, man, they're out of here. If you doing any business with them, he's talking about they want to make a deal. They're begging for a deal. Well, make the deal then. What's the problem? You're such a humanitarian. You want the Nobel Peace Prize. You're the president of peace. You got a whole Department of Peace that you setting up. What's the problem? Nah, he wants them completely on their knees, man, so he can go in there and make a complete regime change to take over. Remember, it's the Don. What do they call it? What did he rename it? The Don Road Doctrine instead of the Monroe Doctrine. The Don Road Doctrine, man. He wants complete control of the Western Hemisphere. Let's continue on. Here we go. How AI fakes are turning satellite images into war misinformation. See, we were talking about that earlier, man, where they doing AI images and drawing pictures of planes. And right now, I seen a video where they was showing missile strikes hidden. I think it was supposed to be in Israel, and somebody was saying, "Oh my God, there it goes," and it was, it was AI. So there's so much that you can't trust, but you gotta pay attention because it could be true, don't it? And that's where we're in the age of deception, man. America's running off of propaganda, lies, and war, and everybody else is too. Satellite imagery that appears to have been either generated or modified with AI has shared widely on social media that at the weekend, highlighting the dangers of the technology as a potential vehicle for misinformation in wartime. An image circulated on X, including a post from the official account of the Iranian newspaper, the Tehran Times, shows a satellite image claiming to depict damage to an American radar system in Qatar following an Iranian drone strike. So, they're saying, man, the Iranians are saying they're doing stuff and they're showing AI images. America's saying they're doing it. AI images. We don't know what's really but no holds barred. Everything is open right now. As far as propaganda, lies, deception, death, murder, mayhem, it's all there, right? All bringing forth the eventual deliverance of Israel, man. This is all part of the plan. Now let's just slide into the economic situation real quick before we Yeah, before we slide up out of here, man, record numbers of workers are raiding their 401k savings, man. So, you know, when you talk about the futures of America, man, there is no retirement at this point, man. Debt slaves is in full effect. The collapse in the economy is forcing, you know, individuals, man, to take the penalties, you know, siphoning off money from their 401ks, man, just to survive, man, robbing Peter to pay Paul, so to speak. And there's no light at the end of the tunnel, man. You know, the tariffs, Trump was talking about, oh, the tariff dividends, we're going to give $2,000 checks. Everything's going to be great. Don't worry. That got shut down. Now they got to refund that money back. You know, everything that he thought was going to happen. I'm bringing down energy prices. They're the lowest they've ever been. What? They've increased as high as they've ever been in a week span now. I mean, let's knock it off. So it's just showing you, man, that the state of affairs as far as economically, man, is crushing people. You know, pressure bust pipes. People start getting desperate. I mean, crime is going to increase, man. Poverty is going to increase. You know, this place is in bad shape, man. It's over with. Look, Papa John's. Oh, some of y'all favorite Papa John's, right? But this is part of judgment too, man. If y'all remember, Papa John's had a little scandal with him. What was this scandal? He said some racial remarks. I don't want to misquote, but let me see. What was it? It's part of the judgment too, though. Papa John's. Yeah, he was saying the N-word, man. 2018. Better pizza, better whatever, whatever his slogan is. Using the N-word in conference calls. He had to resign, right? But the Most High wasn't done with him. Papa John's to close hundreds of restaurants. Pizza chain expects again. Papa John's is trash anyway. But anyway, but this also goes to show the state of the economy, man. When one of the highly commercialized pizza places, man, is like, hey, we're even failing over here. Expects to close 200 locations this year. Now they said it was 300 that was underperforming, but they had to at least close 200. They're trying to give 100 more of them some chances to redeem themselves. But the way things is moving, that ain't gonna happen. So they're gonna have some unemployment line increases. They're going to have some boards up on the windows in 200 locations in Papa John. Earthquakes in diverse places. That's also part of the end time prophecy, end of the age prophecy. These are things that was going on. Louisiana hit with a 4.9 this past Thursday. Who's ever talking about Louisiana getting hit with earthquakes? I haven't. Shreveport get hit, right? Qatar warns that oil could double to $150 a barrel and bring down the economies of the world. Yeah, it's heading that way. Is that $89, $90 right now? If it goes up any further, man, you can forget about it. You're talking about the collapsing of the trade, airlines, trains, food, transportation and food, man. You see the truckers, man, already out there complaining. Truckers is like, especially, you know, like the independent truckers, man, who got to pay for their own gas and everything else. I seen one video, man, this one cat, he had a diesel. He said he had to fill up 200 gallons for his truck. And the cost was like, I forgot how much he paid. He paid $1,000 to fill up it. So he was like, man, this is I'm not making a profit right now. Just from the gas going up this week. Qatar's energy minister has warned that the price of a barrel of oil could double to more than $150, dragging down global economies. So this is going to affect the world, right? Not just America, not the Middle East, the world. Energy prices and energy going towards Europe. Even Putin came out and said, man, he's going to leverage this and said he might cut off oil and energy going to Europe. Because they had sanctions posted up for him to cut him off in April. They're like, oh, really? Oh, because you thought you was going to be able to go to Iran and go to the Middle East and try and get some oil. Now that that's been cut off, you're relying upon us He was like, we might as well just go ahead and cut you off and explore other opportunities, because now that the oil that was coming from Iran and service from the Middle East, it was like, we can be a facilitator and get some of that money. How about that? U.S. gas prices up 11% in a week. Pile pressure on Trump. Yeah, I know we're all feeling the pain at the pump for real. Yeah, this is one of the articles, man. I'm not gonna go there, but they were talking about the fertilizer markets is gonna be highly affected because of the Strait of Hormuz getting shut down. Here's an example: United Arab Emirates, UAE, Arab, Ishmael. It says approximately 80 to 90% of its food, with some estimates exceeding 90% for a specific product due to arid conditions. They're talking about they import damn near 90% of their food. And that's shut down right now because it comes through the Strait of Hormuz. Similarly, Saudi Arabia imports roughly 70 to 80%, while Kuwait depends on imports for 90 to 98% of its food supply. These high rates are driven by limited water for agriculture and rapid population growth. So they have limited water over there in these particular countries, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, so forth and so on, Qatar. They have to get their stuff imported. High import dependency across the GCC, around 85% of the food is imported, rising to 90% for cereals. The main drivers is because of harsh desert environments, extremely low rainfall, and water scarcity mean local production is costly, requiring significant desalination. Import sources, key products like wheat, rice, cereals are imported from Russia, Canada, Australia, India, and Pakistan. They all got to use the Strait of Hormuz to get it in there, and now that's shut down. Famine is coming, right? So supply chains is going to get hit over there in the Middle East. Anything that needs to come out of there that could be making its way over here or going to Europe, that's out. That is out. Matter of fact, I don't think I got it, but just real quick, Putin. See that Putin threatens to cut Russian gas to Europe unless the EU reverses its decision. So he's talking about, man, cutting off oil in production and power to Europe. Smirking Putin considers cutting last remaining Russian gas because they've got the supplies going up until March. And they told, let's look at this real quick. Putin threatens to cut Russian gas to Europe unless the EU reverses its ban leveraging Iran war. Putin floated the idea of cutting off gas supplies to Europe, telling reporters on March 4th that a gas shortage triggered by the war in Iran could give Moscow other export opportunities. So he's like, yeah, people gonna need this gas. They're gonna need us more than you think. Now that this war done jumped off. So you think Putin wants to end the war? He's using it as leverage. The same man, we can make it come up. All them sanctions that slow Biden did and Trump did and all that, where they thought they was hurting their pockets, man, they about to make it come up. Because Europe is gonna have to bow down and say, no, we need this energy, we need this power coming from over there, we need the oil. Make a new deal. Otherwise, they get cut off, man, and Europe is back in the damn dark ages. So you know that's that. I'm gonna leave that one alone. Couple more, and we're gonna slide up out of here, man. U.S. payrolls unexpectedly fell by 92,000 in February. Unemployment rate rising to 4.4%. So the job numbers, payrolls is constantly falling. It was over 100,000 in January. It's 92,000 in February. Unemployment is rising up, man. You see the Papa John's closing amongst all these other businesses, man. It's bad news out there. If you got a job, man, keep it, hold it, do what you need to do. This ain't the time to be shaking the dice and gambling. Because there's so much uncertainty out there. You see the precious metals, man. We've been talking about them for years, telling everybody, man, diversify, get you a little something. Make sure you got this stuff together. Because this place is crashing and burning fast. 13 hospitals and health officials, at least 13 hospitals and health facilities are hit during the attacks in Iran. This is from the World Health Organization. So Hegseth and Dragon Breath and Trump, all them saying, hey, we love it. We want more. Oh, at least 3 to 4 schools, hospitals and healthcare facilities, 1,200 people killed in Iran, more than 111 on, right? Look down here, death toll includes dozens of school children killed in the strike. And that's from the WHO. So it's not even Iran. They're confirming that this is what's going on. America's hitting and bombing everybody. Cuba says, Trump is saying Cuba's next. And I'm gonna stop it here after this one. Trump team brokers a gold deal with Venezuela. Up to 1,000 kilograms are headed to U.S. markets. Do you see how that works? Now they're siphoning off the gold from Venezuela. They got the oil. Now he's getting the gold. As things continue to pop off in the Middle East, the United States is still focused on Venezuela and has brokered a multi-million-dollar gold deal. The agreement, first reported by Axios, involves the sale of between 650 or 1,000 kilograms of gold bars, which is a semi-refined with approximately 98% gold content from Venezuela's state-owned mining company, Minerva. In the global commodities trade Trafigura, the gold is destined for refineries in the United States, marking a shift in Venezuela's resource exports toward American market. So America says, we'll buy some gold from you. You can take the money and invest it in Venezuela. You know that ain't finna go down. But now they went, why is America investing in gold now? Because they see China hoarding gold. They see, multiple other nations, Pakistan or India getting gold. Russia's been on gold. What do you think you and I should be doing? Even though it's a little late in the game. Because the gold is at damn near $5,200 an ounce. You can forget about getting an ounce of gold. But America's even diversifying because he knows this dollar is finished. Dollar's finished, man. He's backing himself up with hard assets that go back to biblical times, man. And I'm gonna leave that there. Actually, you know what? A couple more. Just talking about the earthquakes in diverse places, man. You see them from Nebraska to Japan to Louisiana, right? Multiple earthquakes, man, happening all throughout the earth, man. I mean, if you aren't excited by the times that we're in right now, man, I don't know what to tell you. So much going on. So much going on, man. Again, thank God for Donald Trump. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, while Yahweh Shai, man. Everything's going according to plan, man. The Most High is stirring up the pot, man. This melting pot is bubbling and boiling over here. The damn spoon done melted and broke off. We got to get another spoon and keep stirring and getting this thing lined up to where the Lord said, man, it's all based upon the deliverance of the children of Israel, man. We're on our way, man. We're walking in the right direction, man. Progression is better than regression, man. We're not going backwards, man. And if you ain't on board, man, get off. Get off. You dig what I'm saying? Make some room for somebody who's ready to get up out of here. All right, so with that being said, man, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, man. Prayerfully, this was edifying for brothers and sisters, man. Y'all can see where we're going, what we're trying to, get accomplished by always remembering to fear the Most High, keep the commandments, don't shoot the messenger. I'll see y'all again around 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, man. I'm gonna have a closing lesson to close out the Shabbat, man. Most High, when I see some of y'all there. If not, catch you on the next one.